All right, and welcome everyone to what is definitely the 11th episode of Regiment on the Run, and I didn't lose count, and you can't prove that it happened.
I mean, chronologically, it's the 10th, and the other one's the 11th.
So, last time around, we had a side story about the army that had a little bit of a struggle because the main characters, the people who kept them in line and looked out for them, just up and vanished, and the army had to fight for itself against a horde of kobolds.
Oh no.
But this time around, we have a different scenario coming in. This time, we are cutting back to the party in the aftermath of Mutin Laman's tomb. So, Mutin Laman is dead. Toad may or may not be eating parts of Mutin Laman's body, especially the brain.
Whatever's left of it.
And we are in the aftermath of this whole sequence with Zan and Ert and Terry scouting out the caves ahead to make sure that they are safe for the soldiers. So, in this wonderful historical time, how are you all feeling about yourselves? How do you think the very spectacular boss fight that definitely challenged you went?
Or just like high-level casters are wusses.
Terry we also caught the high level caster off guard.
Zan's just staring at the zombie llama that's still on screen.
Zombie llama very slowly walks towards you, then walks away from you.
Zan is questioning why the zombie llama is still there when we've destroyed
Well,
its.
obviously, the zombie llama has its own business.
I mean, I'm more. I thought we destroyed his maker, and so he should disintegrate into nothingness.
I don't think that was his maker.
Oh, better be on the lookout for another Tootin' Laman.
Or made him.
Oh no.
Well, the thing that I would watch out for is, hey Zan, someone's going to kill your parents, and then you'll cease to exist.
Zan's parents are already dead because he's edgy. Wait,
Edge bird.
if it's an edgy, if I play an edgy character, that means my parents are already dead, right? That's how this works.
Yes, and you can never get adoptive parents, or else they'll catch death too.
Yeah.
Honestly, nowadays the edgiest D&D character would be someone who has loving, supporting parents, siblings, and had a very happy life, and that he's just out adventuring because he thought it would be neat.
That's my next character. He's going to be part of a Power Ranger cleric group.
He's just gonna be annoyingly happy.
So,
And everyone else is like, stop being happy.
with all this happening, you guys are scouting out the remaining distance. Ert and Terry and Zan all heading on up, and Toad in his adorable little OSHA hat, carrying the little level marker, and just being adorable. Then, as you go, you're approached by what seems to be a dragon holding an envelope in its mouth.
That's weird. Adorable, but weird.
Or just looks at it and goes, I don't get this sort of mail. Zan, do you get this sort of mail?
I don't get any mail.
Terry, you got mail.
All right. Terry will take a step forward.
The little dragon looks at Terry, and its tail starts wagging furiously. And when you reach for the envelope, it just jinks back just a little.
Terry will just pause and then just hand out, like, give.
Terry, roll me animal handling.
Oh no! If we roll low on animal handling, does the session just end?
Yes.
The session ends because there's something we can do.
Get a natural one. Get a natural one. Oh, still pretty low.
All right, Terry. Do you have a treat on your person?
Quick, run back to the coffin.
Toad already ate. Toad already ate. The
Is there a bone anywhere?
No, grab the foot out of Toad's mouth.
Okay, anyone may roll perception, especially Zan.
perception.
Let's see if there's like a bone anywhere
Oh, there
nearby.
almost certainly is. I almost rolled persuasion instead of perception. Here we go. I got a 20.
All right, Zan, you spot a bone that could be used to entice a dog, or maybe a dragon, or dog dragon. You're not sure what the hell.
Zan goes to fetch the bone for the doggin, and holds it in front of the dog, kind of waves it a little bit.
And the dragon looks at the bone and very carefully watches it, then drops the letter and pounces for the bone. It is actually terrifying. It is very fast.
I chuck it behind me back towards the zombie llama.
Then you hear a scuffle as the dog dragon goes and scuffles with the zombie llama. They appear to be having a good time.
Did Terry get the letter?
It was dropped on the ground. It is now covered with dragon slobber and also a little bit of dirt.
Oh,
Zan casts firebolt at the letter. Oh wait, no. Just kidding.
All right.
Terry will pick up the letter, clean it off.
All right, Terry. You're not entirely sure, but one of the seals on the letter looks, before all the dragon slobber got to it, like one of the marks that the College of Whispers uses in order to communicate with its members.
It's just Terry thinking, it's like, why would they use a tiny dragon? Never mind. And he'll open it up.
All right. The letter opens, and it says, Terry, my apologies for sending such an unusual courier, but this turned out to be a matter of some urgency. I need you, and specifically you, to find a door within Mutin Laman's tomb that leads to an extra-dimensional space. It is imperative that you find it right away. There's a task that we are asking of you, and it is on behalf of the College of Whispers. This is all written in cipher, by the way. So Ert, looming over Terry's shoulder using mold earth, only sees that it appears to be some sort of advertisement for free cable.
It's an elf language.
But anyway, Terry reads.
An advertisement for gnome cable. Yeah, that's totally elven language.
As Zan sees the advertisement for gnome cable, his eyes twitch a little bit and PTSD.
All right, so Terry, the letter is informing you that the doorway should be nearby, and you need to find it before it teleports away. The objective is to get into the tavern and do something that several other College of Whispers agents couldn't. Find some way of surveilling it and gathering information from it, and possibly predicting its movements in the future. They've only just managed to track it down, and they need you to act fast. Like, now.
Terry will fold up the advertisement and tuck it away, and look to Zan and just go, so, there was a little bit of fine print. Apparently, we can find a special door here.
Okay, but we
Is
have
door
like
full of cable.
we have an entire army that we have to take care of. Like my guys, we got to take care of them too. We got to get out of the tomb. Little busy.
Yeah, but it's not for cable. Apparently, it's a special magic door.
What sort of special magic door?
A special magic door that'll teleport us somewhere else.
Like interdimensional, extra-dimensional, intra-dimensional?
I'm not certain. I just know it'll be somewhere interesting.
Rule number 1 of staying alive is don't go through random magical doors. I'm just saying.
Of course we're not going to go through it. We're just going to see how it works. Let's go.
Uncut Ert.
Well, we'll have to find it first.
Toad is approaching Ert.
What does Toad want with Ert?
Uncut Ert.
Oh no.
The Urch is looking at him.
Uncle Ert! Oh no, he's too cute!
Uncut Ert. You said something about magic door?
Yep, we're going to deconstruct it and turn it into runes.
I remember something from that Mutin Laman guy. His brain was tasty.
So he did eat the brain.
Of course you got to eat the brain. That's where you get their int score from.
Exactly.
No wonder he's speaking a little bit more
Just
clearly.
like you got to eat their heart for their endurance score.
But Uncle Ert, I remember where the door is.
Cool. Get him.
Okay. And Toad just immediately charges off, still holding the flag.
So are you going to name that little thing at some point, Terry?
Terry just... Wait, did Ert just say, is Terry gonna name him?
Yeah.
Terry just kind of stares at Ert like, his name is Toad.
Oh.
His name has been Toad since I got him.
I thought just what he was.
No.
He is not a toadie. His name is Toad.
Or just assumed that was, like your elf and Zan's bird. He's Toad.
Right. Well, I need to keep an eye on Toad. I don't want him to get hurt. So we will have to follow him.
And so we transition over. And this is where I post into the Shog General chat. This is a module. I am pulling this out of the Twisted Taverns module, which is very fun in a lot of respects, although alarmingly short on actual orcs. It makes me angry.
Yeah, there's like only, 2 orcs in the whole book?
Like 3, and 2
Right.
of them are half orcs.
Horks.
And the only full one is a cook.
True.
Forks.
So, Toad leads you all towards a very strange, ornate doorway that seems incredibly out of place with the rest of the dungeon. Urt can immediately realize that the brick way around this place is very obviously not of the dungeon design, and also the flourishing plant life around it isn't normal either.
My arcanic powers are telling me that this might be it.
Zan just rolls his eyes and like, yeah, no kidding. The thing that says magic door is a magic door.
Well, you guys keep an eye on it. I gotta check something. And he's gonna walk down until the brickwork changes and just blow a hole through the wall. And then try to look behind the door.
Okay.
Zan allows this. Zan totally allows
Okay.
this.
Terry is going to stop Urt.
Too late.
Well, he's right now. Urt has just dug like a circle of earth out, and he's looking at just packed dirt. It's like, huh?
Yeah.
I thought that would do more.
Yeah, it does not seem to have had any effect on the facade in front of you, and it does not seem to have any effect on the noises that you can hear coming out of this place.
What do your bird ears hear?
Birds don't actually have great hearing. The sight.
What do your elf ears hear?
Terry and Zan can both roll me a perception check if you like.
All
Do I get disadvantaged because I'm using my ears instead of my eyeballs?
You better. Otherwise, Ur is going to give you so much shit.
Well, Terry doesn't hear much.
Zan also doesn't hear much.
Terry is going to ask Toad, because he ate Moon Lemon's brain, if he remembers anything else about this magic door.
Toad thinks and then says, "It has good drinks, and I remember he had some friends that he did magic science stuff with."
There's so many red flags, and not including the one that Toad is holding right now.
Or just, abandons his stuff and walks over to Toad. It's like, okay, can you give me details?
Yeah. You open the door by putting your hand on this part.
Terry's trying to put together good food and drinks. Wait, is this just a magic tavern?
Yeah.
Urt's just sitting there like, okay, are we doing this?
Terry goes, I could go for a good drink right now and some real food. Looks to Zan. Let's go for the real food.
Urt's just going to reach over the hammer and sort of knock Toad away.
Toad is scooted backwards and just, oh.
It's like, no, you can't touch the magic door unless you're all ready to take notes.
I can take notes.
Just Terry, Toad, you stay with me. You're not hanging out with Uncle Urt. Just no.
Nobody's hanging out with Uncle Urt.
Okay, Dad.
Looks over to Zan and goes, so, real food, real drinks, small break in out.
I mean, that stuff's appealing, but also weird ass magic door in the middle of a tomb.
Apparently it's just a magic tavern.
Is it full of elves?
No.
Because you got an elf note about it.
No, it's not full of elves.
Terry looks to Urt and goes, considering Toad remembers all of this from an undead lich's brain, I'm assuming there's not going to be all elves. There's going to be more than just elves.
I still say we should just take the whole door.
We can't take the door, it's magic.
Yeah, you'd have a hard time taking the door. Or
Well, that's what we got an army for.
I don't think that's how that works.
I am pretty sure that's not how it works either.
Okay, Ert's gonna roll Arcana and touch the door.
Okay.
There you go. Does he get sucked in?
See.
Please tell me he just gets sucked in.
All right, Ert. You touch the
11.
door, and there's a poof of magical smoke, and you disappear.
Zan just looks over to Terry and says, "Well, shit."
Terry, I guess that settles that.
We go in now?
Terry just nods, going, yes, we can go in now. Go ahead, Toad.
Okay. And Toad takes his flag, goes right up to the door, and then reaches one stubby little mushroom arm up, touches the doorknob, and poof.
Does the flag go with him or does it fall?
It goes with him.
Dang it.
Terry just makes a motion towards the door after you, good sir.
Zan, with his resting bitch face, kind of looks at Terry, looks at the door, harumphs a little bit, walks up and touches the door.
It's resting bird face.
Resting bird face, my bad.
All right. Zan goes up and touches the door, and poof. Terry, you are now all on your own. You could abandon them all. Oh, you just touched the door.
Yes.
And so we enter the Wizard's Watering Hole. First of all, let me welcome you to our wonderful splash page. So, this is the environment that you all find yourself within. There are lots of people talking, chatting, having drinks. People appear to be piloting chairs as they zoom around the room. And there are little tankards with legs that are just walking around everywhere, serving drinks to particular tables just by hopping up. There appear to be several rooms. There appear to be a lot of magical lights. There is a strange smoke all around the ceiling, and there are little illusory creatures just flapping everywhere. It is kind of visually overwhelming, not gonna lie.
Zan, as a Aarakocra, that's like a bird of prey like variant. His eyes are really, really good, but they're really good at seeing long range, right? They're predator eyes. And seeing this many bright lights this close gives him an instant headache, and he is already not very happy.
Terry's looking around, rather impressed.
Ert is it's like a dog surrounded by squirrels.
I'm in this splash page though. I'm really liking that little dwarf in the bottom left.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so Ert is rolling Arcana on the chairs, the tables, the mugs again, the other colored mugs, that thing that looks like a dog but isn't, the thing that looks like a dragon but walking.
You mean a dragonborn?
Yeah, like Bubbles, except not a weenie.
Oh god. Okay, so as Erd is taking all of this in, Zan, there is a little flutter of something near you, and there appears to be a magical butterfly holding a pair of sunglasses.
Zan snatches the sunglasses without saying thanks because he really has a headache, and he's holding his temples with his other hand.
Ert rolls Arcana on the sunglasses. He gets a 9.
All right. So we transition over to this map.
Do you have a Zan
What was
with
in those
sunglasses
sunglasses, man?
Do you have a Zan with sunglasses? Please tell me you have a Zan with sunglasses. I need this in my life.
I can make one.
You don't have to stop to make one. It's okay. Oh, those are. Oh.
Oh, fine. Use yours.
So-
Ert was trying to roll Arcana and make his own. There we go, Zan. Get him.
That looks perfect.
Oh no!
It's perfect.
Oh no!
Okay,
Oh.
Erd.
Wait, hold on. Wait, before we go, I'm just gonna zoom in on this. This is going to be
no.
our
Thumbnail.
yeah, this just has to be the thumbnail.
Don't worry, I'll stage a shot later. Oh god. So, Erd, you look around
There
at
we
all
go.
these magical things happening all the time. All of these seem to be applications of cantrips. There seem to be things like thaumaturgy in order to make a bit of, scented air and smoke. There seems to be dancing lights and the regular light cantrip. The chairs seem to be moving with applications of Mage Hand. There are all sorts of low-level enchantments that are just giving this place so much charm. But the one thing that you have difficulty figuring out is the little moving tankards. They seem to be animated with some sort of higher spell level, but you're not quite sure what spell.
I mean, obviously, the only thing to do here is to catch one, drink it first, and then arcane check it. And if that
Well,
doesn't work, I'll need to catch another, drink it, then arcane and check it.
Terry watching Ert try to catch one of these little things is like, we could just go to the bar and order a drink.
Too late, casting Expeditious Retreat.
Roll me a heckin' what the hell would this even be? Acrobatics.
No, wait, first,
While he's rolling, Terry looks to Zan and goes, "Do you think you'll get up to too much trouble here?"
Ert has missed the first one despite his speed.
I mean, Zan turns back to Terry and it's like, it's Ert. He always gets into trouble.
Well, let's order a drink and enjoy it until that happens, I suppose.
Zan walks with his massive sunglasses, his canonically large sunglasses, up to the bar.
All right. Zan approaches a bartender, and I am going to post in Player Playground an image that I will also use for later. Just a moment.
And I will move my tokens. Taking
Here, I'm
token
also
with
going to
me.
post this in Shog General. Why not?
Oh,
I can't
he has
take the
4
flag with
hands.
me. No.
Oh, you can?
Nope. I could
That's
only take
disappointing.
Toad.
Permissions get switched, I think.
It's
Well,
okay.
I can't.
We'll just
Mm.
assume Toad has the flag.
Yeah, we don't need to carry it.
His tiny mushroom sword kind of looks like a little red flag.
All right, fine. Be that way. Okay, so in just a moment. So you guys looking in Player Playground, you see this guy at the bar. It is a 4-armed automaton of some kind, which looks to Zan and says, "Hello and welcome to the Wizard's Watering Hole. I hope that you enjoy your stay here. You may call me the tender, and you may order anything that you like. Would you like a menu? Would you like a drink? We have water. We have other refreshments. We have various types of food. We also have recreational areas and rooms."
And Terry going, "Yes, please, let me see your menus."
All right.
Ert is just looking at the bartender and be like, why is there a mustache carved onto you?
Do you not think that it adds to my whimsy, sir?
Well, as a dwarf, yes.
Then there is no other reason, sir.
Ert is just suspicious.
He has to match the aesthetics of the building.
Precisely.
Zan's only gonna order a water because he's working, and he doesn't drink while he's working.
Ert orders a animated mug. Hold the beer. Actually, don't hold the beer. Actually, just put the beer in a normal glass and just give him the mug.
The bartender gives a little nod and says, "I will serve you a beer, sir, but I would ask that you try not to damage our glassware. There is a security system."
Ert is just sitting there with the hammer right over the glass and like, what now?
There is a security system, sir. If you damage any of our property, it will stop you.
Really? Like
Yes.
before I damage it?
Yes, sir. It is very diligent.
Ert is just gonna go for it.
Terry sighs
God.
as he's reaching for the drink menu.
All right, Ert, you go for the little creature. I will have you roll an athletics check.
13.
All right. The hammer jerks up out of your hands.
Ha!
As I said, sir, we have a robust security system.
Ert is now. You ever tried to like balance two magnets on top of each other with the repulsing force? That's Ert in the glass with his hammer right now. He's going to start trying to climb onto the hammer.
You start trying to climb onto the hammer, and Ert starts rising into the air more and more.
Holy shit, guys! This place is great.
Zan looks over to the bartender and asks, "Is it all right to let him do his thing, or do we need to put a leash on him?"
The bartender looks to you and says, "It is all right to leave him unattended. Our security system is robust. Please, have confidence in us. And, by all means, take a rest. We do have complimentary rooms for people who have visited us for the first time. After all, we have just had to do a shift, and so you will not be in the same place that you were before. However, we can arrange to visit the same location in, say, 2 days."
Ert would like everyone to notice his 19 on acrobatics and point out that he is touching the ceiling.
Zan is too busy worrying about being gone from the army for 2 days to really notice that.
Terry will wave a hand at this and pull out its clipboard, saying, "It's all right. I can let them know."
Yeah, but like, who's gonna be in charge there? Oh wait, no, the CRT's there. It'll be fine. It'll be totally fine.
Yeah, CRT is there. They got this.
Yeah, they'll take charge for sure.
Of course.
Meanwhile, the CRT, "Oh my god, where the hell is Zan? We gotta go find him! Quick, abandon the army!"
Exactly.
It's a good thing the CRT's there looking after the army, because if the CRT wasn't there, like there's nobody else there that's qualified to lead. It'd be just an absolute cluster.
Yes. It would be
Yeah. Knowing my good trusted compatriots are there taking charge really eases Zan's old heart.
So Terry, using his clipboard, will notify the army that came with them into the tunnels to head back to base.
all right. Then you send out the message. It doesn't appear to have gone through.
Oh no.
Terry just looks to the bartender and asks, "Is there any way I can get this message sent?"
Unfortunately, sir, we are currently in an extra-dimensional space. If you would like to step outside of the tavern in order to send the message, that would be acceptable. Although I do warn you that there can be some interference. My personal recommendation is just to send a messenger the slow way and just relax and enjoy your time here.
Will it get there faster than we would?
Very likely, yes.
Where can I find one then?
Please, by all means, ask around. Many of the people at this tavern are capable of answering your questions and performing various services for you. This is not only a place of refreshment, it is also a meeting place.
All right. Before I go, as he stares at this little drink menu, just have anything, Faye?
I would recommend the seasonal shift, sir.
I'll go for that then. And for context in the real world, I mean Fae as in fairy, the Fae people, not anything involving the real world.
Very well.
Because
So,
I know
the
that
seasonal-
that can be a bad word, but in this case, it's not.
It is?
Yeah, a long, long time ago, Fae or fairy used to mean gay in a bad way.
Oh.
European connotations.
Well, you know what, Terry? You can be gay and we won't judge you for it, okay?
Imagine being from Europe. Imagine being from Europe.
Ert is not aware that elves have any gender aside from elf.
All right. So, with that, Terry, you are served a cocktail. The seasonal shift is a cocktail that begins with sweet green liquor layered under strong, clear spirits and chilled tea, peach syrup, and finally disturbed by frozen cubes of grape juice. As the drink sits, the seasons slowly change.
Ooh.
It is very fancy. It is very delicious. Terry, the price of this is also just ridiculously cheap. Like, for how good it is, this is a steal.
Bad news, Terry.
What?
Roll to save your drink from falling Ertz. Because Ert just fell off his hovering hammer.
No, what Terry does is remembering the system. He lets his cup go.
All right, Terry, you let your cup go. The cup actually manages to balance itself on the table without spilling a drop.
But does Ert hit it?
Well, Ert hits the table next to Terry and shakes everything up a little bit, and the bartender says, "Please, sir, relax and enjoy yourself."
That's what I'm doing.
Zan just says he is enjoying himself immensely.
Anyone got a warhammer?
Very well.
And Terry also looks at that menu there. The top one. Yeah, he's going for that. He says it out loud. It just, I would like the forever steak, medium rare.
Very well, sir. I will place in your order and it will be out to you in 1 minute.
Thank you. Looks to Zan and just, it's a steak. It's a bottomless steak.
From this table, Urt just observes. That means it's summoned.
I assure you, sir, that it is not summoned. It will not disappear within your digestive system. This is a common dietary question.
Urt just doesn't. Urt's just sitting there going, turkey legs don't disappear, do they?
The bartender looks to Urt, and Urt is currently like behind the bar, having crashed down.
Having a small midlife crisis over summoned turkey legs.
Well, I mean, Urt's just wondering, it's like, how do I take nutrition from them then?
The bartender says, "Please, sir, this area is for employees only. Would you kindly take a table or a seat?"
Okay, where the wizard's at?
Oh no, please, or
Sir, this establishment is for magic users of all stripes. There are wizards practically everywhere.
Guys, I have an idea. Urt just pulls out one of his hand stabbing crystals.
just Terry going, no, you know what? Before you try anything, sit down and have something to eat, like the everything sandwich.
Urt just literally like wants one of everything. And then he
That's
tries a little
why
bit,
it's
then
called
ignores
the
it.
everything sandwich.
Yes.
Well, fine. Urt orders one of everything and gets that.
As I'm reading the menu that was provided to us in the other chat, everything sandwich. This sandwich isn't for the faint of heart. Its massive girth is prepared with 40 different cuts of monster meat, 10 types of secret sauces, a medley of the fabled 24 master herbs, and 20 different vegetables.
Urt knew what some of those words were.
Urt, do you know what a vegetable is?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's what happens when your int goes below 1.
I think
Okay.
Zan would enjoy the forever steak.
Zan, do you order some food?
Zan will eat food.
All right. The bartender does have one final recommendation for you.
Okay.
If you find yourself a little overwhelmed by all the goings on up here, there is a quieter lower room that you may choose to retire to. It has a lounge and some gambling tables. The volume level is kept rather lower.
Does it use a sound dampening spell?
No. In fact, it is just because of the acoustics of the room.
Oh, lovely.
The sound dampening spells can be employed, of course. Sometimes there are restive guests.
So after getting food and trying it, what does Urt think of real food?
Urt, you have never tasted anything like this in your entire life.
Urt has dissected his sandwich. He has separated every ingredient so it's not touching the other ingredients.
Like you've just had to request like 40 different plates.
No. He spread them over the table.
God.
At the point, it's just, there's cold cuts everywhere. And he yells at anyone who goes to touch them because he hasn't tested them yet.
All right. So Urt is over at his table. Meanwhile, Terry, as you look around, you find that there's a familiar face.
Just Terry staring for a minute as he eats the side of seasoned potatoes, just waiting for that person to make eye contact.
Oh boy. They eventually look over and flinch. And it's just like, oh no.
Terry smiles and waves.
The halfling hesitantly waves back.
Zan is tracking this and looks over at the person that Terry is looking at. Looks over to Terry and says, "Should I be ready to do something?"
No, not at all. You remember those people from the very beginning. You know, the ones that I let live because they told us that there was a counterattack to the quote unquote peaceful invasion we had.
Yeah, you the ones that murdered the guy that was supposed to give me my money? Yes.
That's one of them.
Oh boy.
Harry's gonna walk
Zan
over to the table.
Zan will also
Without
walk over
taking
and sit on
oath.
the other side. We'll stand behind Jochi oh, my glasses. Shoot.
Oh boy.
We'll stand behind
Yeah, make
Jochi.
sure he gets permission on the glasses real quick.
I have
Oh, he
permission.
has it.
I did not bother
There
to
we go.
select them appropriately.
Harry, just Gucci, how are you?
Jochi looks up to you and says, fine.
Fancy meeting you here.
Yes, it's very fancy, isn't it?
Zan cracks his knuckles loudly behind Jochi.
Harry just chuckles and just waves to Zan and going, no, 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 this isn't like that.
Ert just abruptly turns around. It had Zan a piece of meat and Jochi a piece of meat.
Is Ert just not liking anything he's trying because it's not turkey leg?
No, he just hands them to those, like, keep those two separate. I think that one's Manticore and I think that one's Ogre.
Does Zan have the manticore or the ogre?
I don't know. Anyway, that's all. Ert just wanted you to hold those two because he thinks he knows what they are.
Oh boy.
Zan sniffs the meat and tries to discern whether it's manticore meat or ogre meat.
Perception, Zan, or survival.
I bet it's just ham.
Perception. Well, it's a monster meat of some sort if you got the everything sandwich.
Just dire boar.
20.
It is actually manticore meat, except that Ert told you that the one that he handed to Jochi was manticore meat.
Zan nibbles on the manticore meat.
It's actually amazingly savory.
Zan goes ahead and just eats the whole thing.
Ert turns around a second later. It's like, okay, give me that back.
Nope.
Zan, before Ert turned around, Zan stole the meat out of Jochi's hand and is holding it as if it was the meat that Ert handed him, and is looking over accusingly at Jochi.
Jochi
Ert's just like, really? Really? This is why we don't bring halflings anywhere. He is a halfling, right?
Jochi grabs the steak on his plate and hands it to Ert. Like, I want to be clear, he's not spearing it with a fork. He's just holding an entire goddamn steak in his fingers.
I mean, that's what Ert's been doing.
It's just Harry, don't be so mean to Jochi. We're not here for any reason.
Jochi looks up to Terry and says, I find that a bit difficult to believe.
Well, no reason that involves you, Jochi.
Well, okay, fair, I guess. But now you've got me wondering if I'm here for a reason that's because of you.
Terry thinks for a minute, checks his clipboard, and just, nope.
Jochi looks at you suspiciously and then sighs and just says, what do you want, Terry?
Do you know anything about this place?
Well, I know that I've been here for rather a while. He gestures around and says, this place has been teleporting from place to place for a long time, and I've managed to pick up some sort of schedule for when it comes by. It's always cheap, the atmosphere is nice, and sometimes it even transports me to some place that I want to go.
Really?
Heck, it's cheaper than getting a carriage across the frickin' nation.
The schedule, you say?
Yeah, well, there is something of a schedule, but it changes based on factors that I don't fully understand. Apparently, there's a little bit of mystique that the owner tries to infuse in the whole thing, and if it was predictable, then people wouldn't get excited when it pops up.
He flips to a page. It's a map of the mainlands. He got an updated one. Just, would you mind just marking in order by number the places it's popped up while you've been here?
Joshi considers this, then gives a nod and says, on one condition,
What would that be?
drinks are on you for the evening.
Terry remembers the prices and just, all right. But only if I get to watch you chug the curdled night hag.
Jochi grimaces and says, "Oh, you know what? Deal."
The what now?
Curdled night hag.
Terry I read it on the menu. It's got a blue liqueur and lime juice with a mixture of some sort of cream liqueur, so it curdles a little, and then they finish it off with a little bit of cherry juice.
Ugh.
Or just looking at Terry like he's insane.
Zan is also looking at Terry like he's insane.
You're meant to
It's
chug
like the proper mix of an alcoholic beverage
it.
is beer and beer additives, like whiskey.
Then you might like the dark spirit calling. It's just beer and wine.
Or just flinches at the word wine. It's like, ugh. So is this what we're just doing here? Are we just intimidating this halfling? Or he looks at the ear stuff. Catling?
Jochi just waves a hand and says, "I'm providing Terry with a bit of information, and you can watch me drink the drink if it really pleases you, but that's all that I'm here for. This is just an evening for me to get a job if I can find one. The job board's been looking a little sparse."
Or just looks at him as like, you got any empty spell slots?
He squints at you and says, "I'm a rogue?" But the person across the table just holds up a paw and says, "I cast spells."
I got a job for you.
And what would that be?
Or pulls out the crystal is like, who wants a refilled spell slot?
Oh.
Terry looks to Ert and goes, "Are you really going to refill his spell slots, or are you trying to steal his soul?"
Or just looks back at you. Is like, look, he's over level 1. It won't steal his soul.
Terry, no.
Or just grumbles and goes back to his sandwich dissection. It's like, no one ever lets me do anything.
No stabbing crystals in hands.
We've already seen what happens. We don't need another repeat of that.
Meanwhile, Zan, I will have you, specifically Zan, roll a perception check.
Another percent. I've been doing a lot of these.
Yes.
21.
Eagle eye.
Through the lenses of your wonderful sunglasses, you can see that as Ert was holding up the sharpened crystal, there seemed to be a faint spectral hand that you could only barely perceive through the sunglasses that was getting ready to grab it.
Oh. Okay.
Interesting.
Zan will will like scope the room out really fast and try to identify people who were interested in the crystal.
All right, Zan. You look around, and it is not hard to see that there is a significant amount of interest. Like, there are several spellcasters here who are interested in the pitch. However, Zan, the spectral hand does not seem to be just, hovering in midair. It actually seems to be connected to a creature that's lingering up above amidst all the mage lights and smoke.
Zan grabs the hand and yanks downward.
All right. Zan, you grab the hand and yank downwards, and you don't feel any real resistance from it, but you have the sense of having grabbed the hand. And Zan, you hear a voice just like kind of creepily whispering near your ear and says, "Hello, nice to meet you. I'm security."
Why are you trying to grab that crystal, security?
Because he was trying to stab it into someone's hand.
No, he was offering to stab it. He wasn't trying to yet.
He had it raised, and I didn't want to take chances. He's already proven a little bit, disruptive.
Okay, you know what? That's totally fair. I apologize. Nice to meet you, security.
Nice to meet you as well. I hope you enjoy your stay.
Zed releases the hand and kind of thinks to himself, like, that guy was actually really cool.
Security is downright polite. I love it.
Yeah, like he was taken aback by, like, wow, maybe this place ain't too bad after all.
I know, right?
So Terry's watching Joji, number out the different stops he's had so far, and then gets to watch him chug essentially what is the magical world's version of an Irish car bomb.
And Jochi, burps at the end of it and is just like, okay, that was awful. I kind of want another.
Oh, great.
Just Terry pats Joji on the head and just like, well, drinks are on me, and I'm sure you have a room that they can drag you off to when you pass out.
Damn right I have a room. Okay, let me just finish up this map because, oh boy, I don't think I'm going to be coherent after another one of those.
Thank you so very much, Joji.
Meanwhile, Toad is asking if they serve any brains.
I mean, that's a great way to get him more skills.
No
More
brains,
spells.
it looks like on the menu, but there is mystery chicken and eggs.
Toad will order that, and Toad presents his allowance, which is 3 gold coins that he stole from Urt.
That's a lot of money
I mean,
for.
you make that sound like Urt has them in secure storage. He just keeps them in a pile with all his other metal.
Exactly. Oh,
I
boy.
also like to imagine Toad going up and going, "You got anything with brains in it?" And after a few minutes, a hot dog is brought out.
So the
I mean,
mystery
the everything sandwich is an everything sandwich.
the mystery chicken and eggs, the menu says it's breaded and grilled meat is served under a blanket of soft-boiled eggs topped with various spices. Each bite will be a confusing mix of a flavor you've never tasted and just chicken.
It's the mixing of familiar and unfamiliar.
As opposed to unjust chicken.
God damn it, Shoggy.
Look, we cast detect alignment on the chicken, and it came up lawful.
You, god damn it.
So I'm imagining little Toad gets his order and he sits down with Joji in the tabaxi. He just starts eating.
Yes. In the meantime, so, would anyone like to take a little bit of a wander?
Yeah, Terry trusts Toad. Toad is allowed to, kind of wander if he wants. Terry gives him a little bit more gold for a little bit more spending budget.
Toad takes it and immediately orders 16 chicken and eggs.
Holy crap.
He is informed by the bartender that there is a forever steak.
And Terry tells Toad it's like, get the forever steak.
Zan is also ordering the forever steak because he loves steak and it's bottomless. So he's just gonna keep eating.
Oh yeah, Terry's been eating this entire time.
Yeah. Like,
Okay, so Toad orders the forever steak and 16 mystery chicken eggs. Toad is not holding back.
So, are we splitting the group up?
Yes, let's split the group up. So, Terry, you are here on a mission, remember, and you do have some obligation to look into it. But as for Zan, I will ask, is there any particular direction that you are drawn?
Zan's gonna stick with Terry for most of this. After talking with Mr. Security, he feels a lot more comfortable leaving Urt to himself, and he's just gonna, help Terry with whatever Terry needs help with.
Urt won't be the cause of the trouble if something happens, because security is already on watch. If
Yeah.
trouble happens, it'll be happening either to Urt or to the people around Urt. But not because of Urt.
Oh boy. We'll see. So, Terry, are you inclined to go into any particular direction? For example, are you inclined to visit the rooms that you have been given? Or do you want to visit the music hall, the alchemy places? Do you want to go down to the lounge and maybe do some gambling?
Terry, as a bard, is drawn towards the music hall.
All right. So, let's take Terry and Zan.
Yeah, my mind moving my token. Things are still slow here.
Hang on.
You took the crow.
All right. So, you head over into the music hall, and you hear a performance by a strange tiefling person playing up on stage. They seem to be singing a fascinatingly wandering melody, and multiple animated instruments are playing along with them. Meanwhile, Terry, or more specifically, Zan, you recognize one of the faces in the audience. Hey, Zan, remember that fuck that tried to steal Earth's stabby crystal last time? The musician?
The one that I flew very up high, the one that I carried really high up into the air and then dropped.
Yes, that one. The one where you broke his instrument.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
Hi.
the one that Terry gave an instrument to behind Zan's back.
Yeah. Hi, fuckface. How are you?
Luke looks over and is just like, oh no.
Terry will pop up right next to Zan, and Zan, remember, be nice.
Zan looks over to Terry and says, "I'm always nice," and then stares at Luke.
Luke holds up his hands in surrender and says, I'm just here on recreation.
Recreation, huh?
Luke gestures to the stage and says, the Seeker is performing. They're the best there is in the business.
Zan is completely uninterested.
Can Terry roll to see if he knows the Seeker?
Please go ahead and roll me a history or an arcana.
They're both the same. 15.
Okay, 15. You have, in fact, heard of the Seeker. They are rather famous. They travel to a lot of taverns. They speak up for a lot of places that you can go. They are known to be whimsical, friendly, and a little bit scatterbrained. And they are also known for being very, very fancy and flourishing. They have one hell of a charisma. And yes, the performance is magnificent.
Just Terry, just like, right. And he'll walk over and he'll sit right next to Luke.
And Luke, just now feeling incredibly boxed in, is just, oh boy.
Zan doesn't sit. Zan just stands behind Luke.
Meanwhile, the bird person in the other seat just like leans a bit towards Zan and says, hey, these are padded benches, you know. Very comfy.
Zan just stares at the bird person for a second.
Does it look like the backs of the seats magically lower to accommodate wings?
They do.
Ooh.
Zan's trying his hardest to keep on his tough guy act. He's trying really hard. The sunglasses help a lot.
But comfy seats with wing accommodations? Good music?
I mean, Zan doesn't have much musical taste, but the comfy seats are in fact attractive. Zan will jump over the back of the seat and land right in front of the seat next to the right of Luke.
Luke reflexively scoots away from Zan and ends up bumping into Terry, then scoots away from Terry and finds himself quivering in the middle of the seat.
Zan loops his arm around Luke's shoulder and sits down with his arm around Luke's shoulder.
Luke just looks at the arm and says, I need an adult.
Don't worry, we are adults.
Terry just, Zan, quit tormenting the man. We're not even here for him.
We were told to entertain ourselves and enjoy ourselves. I am doing that. I'm having fun.
Luke says, I'm not.
Nobody asked, Shorty.
Oh, God. So, Terry, the performance is going on, and Luke is just very nervous and wants to know why exactly you're here.
Just Terry, nothing that endangers you or anyone else around here. I was just asked very nicely by one of my colleagues to learn a little bit more about this place.
Luke gives a bit of a nod and says, I've been here a couple of times, only just managed to figure out where the doorway can appear. I'm still getting used to the place. My boss was really angry with me after I shifted away, and then I had to walk my way back, and I didn't realize that I could have just waited for it to teleport back.
Just places it can appear, like there's stipulations.
Well, as far as I know, yeah, there are certain places that the owner of the establishment is invited. Apparently, there's some sort of arrangement. I'm not sure of all the details, but anywhere that the seeker goes, the tavern seems to follow.
How the hell did you get in here?
I well, ever since I heard of the seeker and their performances, I started looking into it and researching it, and I found a little bit about this particular place. I heard that the seeker had played in one of the towns that we were passing through while selling all the sand stout liquor, and I decided to hang around and look to see if there were any interesting disturbances, and I lucked upon one, and I went into the door. And then my boss got really mad at me.
Yeah, you steal anybody else's crystals since then?
No!
Hmm. Zan starts going through Luke's pockets.
Terry tells Zan to cut it out.
Yeah, not only that, but as Zan starts trying to go through his pockets, the spectral hand of security just like, could you stop that, please?
Oh, don't worry about this, bro. This guy's just a petty little thief, and I'm making sure he didn't steal anything from anyone else. I'm not actually going to take anything from him.
Terry just looks to Zan and just, he can't steal anything here. Security will catch him.
Well, but he could have stolen something from someone before he got here. Well, fine, I'll leave him be a little bit. Arm stays around him, but stops going through the pockets.
Okay. Luke looks a little bit relieved. And Luke looks to both of you and says, I can tell you the methods that I used, I guess, but I think you just heard most of it. I'm really just here for the entertainment.
Me too.
Yes, that's been made abundantly clear, thank you.
Terry would appreciate the information.
Oh boy. So, Terry does get a little bit of information on how Luke managed to track this place down, the specific methodology that he used, and especially the fact that the tavern seems to somehow follow the Seeker around. He's not entirely sure why. Maybe it's just that the Seeker only feels comfortable singing its praises in places that it actually appears. It might be cause, it might be effect. He doesn't know, but generally, the Seeker seems very fond of the place and makes efforts to visit it.
Interesting. Terry definitely takes note of that and thanks Luke.
All right. Meanwhile, let's cut back over to Ert. Hey, Ert, what chaos are you getting up to?
Ert has exhausted the opportunities of the sandwich. Has anyone come to poke him yet?
Uh, there are several people who have marched on up to you and expressed interest in your project.
Well, what I'm looking at here is this one piece of meat. Because I'm not sure, but I think it might be elf. They're a monster, right?
You are informed that that would be some of the variations of cannibalism, and no, that would not be served here.
And what is it?
They look and they say that it looks like turkey.
No, not that one. That one. He points at the coaster.
That's the coaster.
Yes, that one is cork. Thank you.
Cork. That's all. Ert's just very interested in this sandwich. Oh, wait. Do you guys want something?
Yes, they all have an interest in the service that you said you were offering about recharging spell slots. Because you see, there are a lot of spellcasters in the area that have had difficulty regaining spell slots. What with the Magipocalypse and all.
Oh, yeah.
Security.
We figured that shit out ages ago.
No. Security, don't let him take out another crystal.
Ert's just waving his stabbing crystal around. Now, the secret is you got to get the soul energy into your body.
All of them look at the soul crystal, then look to you. And it's mentioned that this seems rather invasive. You sure you don't have any better methods?
I don't know. They taste awful.
And let's not explore the other holes, okay?
Good news. Anyway, so yeah, Ert is just like, yeah, just got to get it in the body. Soul energy fills up your spell slots. Pretty sure it works.
They have to ask, what level of spell slot can you recover? And Ert has the sudden sense that a lot of people are listening.
Well, depends on the energy requirement. This is a level 1. He waves the crystal. I think I got enough in here for like, I don't know, either 20 of those or maybe a level 4.
Ert, roll me in athletics.
Does not pass.
All right, Ert. Suddenly you feel a hand on your shoulder, a scaly clawed hand, and you are suddenly dragged back out of your seat into a room that is filled with a whole bunch of potion regents.
Security, hello?
And security is just like, please do not use violence on the guests. And then Ert is just pointedly released. And you are surrounded by a whole bunch of high-level spellcasters, one of whom appears to be an actual dragon in disguise. And you are informed, Ert, that they have heard the conversation going on over there, and they have a significant amount of interest, and wonder if you would like to try some experiments.
Oh, yeah. Now, the magic hand thing says I can't stab you with this thing, but if you want to stab yourself, go nuts.
Oh, boy. And so, one of them does actually take the crystal and tentatively stab themselves with it, and they find out that it does, in fact, recover their spell slots. This provokes a lot of discussion, but mostly, this provokes a lot of discussion about how it shouldn't be necessary to actually stab someone with it, and people start brainstorming all sorts of ideas.
So, as the discussion goes on, Ert's going to start bringing out his runes and explaining how a recharging rune connects to a cantrip rune. And that's going to keep him busy for a while.
Which means he's explaining how we're using dead souls.
Well, yeah. Duh. I mean, they haven't asked where the energy comes from yet, have they?
They have not gotten around to that just yet, but even when you do get around to
Like,
it,
Ert is just going to keep using the word soul juice.
yes, eventually they're going to ask you to clarify on that, but that won't be for a few minutes.
Okay, so what's going on with the other two?
All right. So what's going on with the other two is that Toad has approached all of you who are just listening to the performance as it's wrapping up. The Seeker is standing up and taking a bow to everyone. And Toad says, "Hi guys, I got a room."
You've got a room.
Yeah,
A room for?
a room for Toad, but also people who want to sleep, because Toad does not.
Well, that's good. We have a room here. It was complimentary.
Yes. And Toad thinks about this for a moment and says, "There was a key, and the key was complimentary."
Did you eat the key?
No, because the key was the word complimentary. He
Oh,
says that in the middle of a room with several people listening.
And just, Terry, I am sure it is magically assigned to specific people to say the word.
Nope, it's just the word complimentary.
Right. Terry makes a note to head to the bartender and get the word changed.
Did I do good, Dad?
And just pats his head and just, you did good. Just next time, don't talk as loud.
But everyone else was being real loud in here.
You just, yes, but you did just tell everyone how to open our door.
What if they want to visit?
Well, they would need our permission to visit, but now they know the word, so we have to get it changed.
Uncle Zan doesn't like visitors.
Oh, sorry, Uncle Zan.
So, have you guys finished intimidating that random dwarf yet?
I mean, I will intimidate for as long as I'm allowed to intimidate. However,
Oh, God. So, you have actually extracted some useful information from Luke. Luke is just wondering when he'll be left alone.
Just Terry just pats him on the shoulder and just goes, "Sorry for Zan's behavior."
Luke just gives a hesitant nod and says, "I appreciate it, but honestly, I find you unsettling too."
Zan digs his talon hands into Luke's shoulder at that comment.
Just
Be nice to the tall ear smiley man, okay?
Tall ear smiley man.
I meant to say long-eared smiley man, but whoops.
It's Paul. It's Vente, you know?
Terry just kind of chuckles and just like, Zen, you can let him go. And just gives Luke a nudge, and just us bards have to stick together.
In the meantime, Luke is going to excuse himself. He did want to meet up with a couple of people that he met last time.
Of course.
So if he could just go, and he tries very hard to get away from Zan.
Terry wishes him a good night.
And calls out saying, "Don't let me catch you holding the lute or any other instrument in those greasy little thieving paws of yours."
Luke immediately goes back up to his room to make sure that his trunk is sealed with the instrument inside.
Zan's instrument senses are tingling.
Just Terry looks at Zan. He can have a lute.
Not if I have anything to say about it.
Zan just shakes his head because Terry thinks that some of his little viewpoints and personal rules for others are a little hypocritical.
Hey, I'm still breathing. That's all that matters. All right, where are we going?
That is the question. Terry, you do still have your duty. After all, you were asked to gather information from this place. Maybe you should put down some interesting magical listening devices or something.
Look, if Terry's concerned about his duty, the outhouse is right there below him.
He's
Yeah, I know,
literally-
right?
he's literally just right
here.
there.
Come on, Terry.
Yeah, no. Terry.
Lowest hanging fruit. Lowest hanging fruit.
I want Terry to look around to see, like if that's happened at all to anyone, like if anybody else has managed to bug the place.
Terry, roll me an insight or a perception. You can get Zan's help if you're willing to tell him what you're looking for.
Sure. You'll tell Zan that one of the things he was sent to do was a concern over the place being bugged, spied on.
Okay. And so we're looking for magical listening devices.
Yes.
Zan can look for that.
All right. Zan, are you going to go on an exploration to look around and see what can be found?
Sure.
All right. Then go ahead and pick a place that you would like to investigate. You may investigate the lower lounge. You may investigate the upper rooms. You may investigate the alchemy lab. Speaking of which, Zan, the alchemy lab actually has a section set aside for people who want to make their own bottles.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Terry will check out the lower lounge.
If Terry's going for lower lounge, Zan will go to the upper levels. As much as he wants to play with his glass blower a little bit. That's not a euphemism, by the way. He's gonna be true to his word and help Terry out here. He's gonna head up to the upper levels and start. Why, when I move them both together, do the glasses always get shifted?
Because
You gotta
Zan
hold-
snaps to a particular square, but the glasses don't.
You gotta
Yeah,
hold
well-
down the Alt key.
Well, shut up.
So I'm gonna move Terry down to the lower lounge. So we'll start with Zan first. Go ahead.
Yes. So Zan, you may go ahead, poke around, and roll me a perception check again.
Again, that's what Zan's here for. He rolls really bad. That's
As
he rolls,
usual.
he rolls a 5 + 7 for 12. Hooray.
Zan, you honestly can't help it. This place is just like inherently kind of charming, and it's starting to put you off your hunch, and just making you relax a little bit against your will, but not entirely against your will.
I need to punch somebody. To get my head back in it. I need to get in a fight or something. I don't know. No. Zan will do his best to look around and not spend too long staring at the various bits and baubles that are around.
Zan, one of the things that you actually notice on this particular floor, there are two features that catch your eye. One of them is a job board with various postings for people to do. and it appears that most of them are like delivery to X place. And a lot of people seem to be actually very interested in posting and taking the jobs off. It seems like this would actually be a decent place to earn money if you were into that.
I mean, Zan is always into earning money. Zan will see if there's anything that is decently close to where uh, the regiment was left at.
All right, there are actually a couple of delivery missions set for that area. You could pick them up, find the patron who's willing to pay you, and just carry the package. They'd pay you in advance.
How much?
They would pay you a total of 100 gold.
100 gold. Hmm. And it's decently close to where the regiment's at?
Decently close to where the regiment's at. It would just be a small detour for you personally. Like the regiment could keep going the way that it's usually going.
Okay, Zan will pick up the job. Why not?
All right. And there's another job that stands out to you. Occasionally, there appear to be problematic happenings in the lower levels, which
Great.
adventurers are always welcome to help out against incursions.
Encouraging.
Incursions in the lower level.
Yes.
So Zan reads that and realizes that Terry has gone off to the lower level and will start hustling down to the lower levels himself.
All right. Then with that, we are going to cut over to Terry again. So, hey Terry,
Hello.
you're in the lower level. There is a wonderful lounge full of very comfortable looking seats. There is also a gambling hall just off screen. And in general, this looks like a very pleasant, calm place to have some private conversations. Most of the seats are taken up, but there are a couple of free. And in general, it just looks like a very interesting, chill place.
A perfect place to be bugged. So I will
Exactly.
roll that perception.
Yep.
He'll roll his bug detection
Nope, nothing.
and get a low roll like Zan did.
All right, Terry, you end up peeking under a table that someone is currently sitting at, and the person is just like, "Excuse you."
Just
Try
Terry.
to see if you're wearing pants.
Like the Minotaur's like what you see.
You man.
Terry just apologies. I'm looking for something.
Did you find it?
I'm not going to listen to what Shoggy says.
Oh boy. So, Terry, you do not find any bugs, but you do find a couple of people who might be interested in some conversation. Do you want to strike up a chat with anyone here?
Well, he's got the attention of one person by accident, so he's going to play it off and start having a pleasant chat.
Persuasion.
20.
Oh, 20. Okay. So, Terry, you actually make friends with this Minotaur here. He seems to be a regular at this place. He actually seems to be considering living here full time.
Terry, you could just do that.
Well, yes, the rent on the rooms is actually quite small, but the thing is that most of it you can pay just by taking jobs inside the tavern. He gestures over towards a doorway and says, just over there is some sort of dimensional rift, and every now and then something crawls out of it. They don't like having to replace all their servants and whatnot when they get banged up, so every now and then I just go on in and lend some assistance and save them a bit of coin, and they pay it to me.
Work your own hours. That must be very pleasant.
It is rather pleasant, yes. And also, the things from other realities make some wonderfully delightful squishing noises when I hit them.
I can only imagine.
Zan, you come into this conversation on the words wonderful squishing noises.
Zan looks around uncomfortably.
Just Terry looks back to Zan and just, oh, welcome back. My new friend was just telling me about the otherworldly beings that they fight off through that door.
I came down here for that, but I'm starting to think it's a different kind of fight than I was led to believe.
The Minotaur shrugs and says, the place seems to be remarkably well staffed with automatons and, that sort of thing. But every now and then something a little bit more dangerous comes in and they need a little bit of help. And since this place caters to people who are actually good at defending themselves, we're always willing to help.
Zan at the good at defending themselves bit, Zan thinks about Luke and laughs. Right. Good at right.
The Minotaur grins and says, "There's always an anti-example, isn't there?"
Zan looks around and looks for the rift.
All right.
Terry points it's through that door.
Yes, there is indeed a security room through this door. It is actually labeled, "Do not enter unless inquiring about work on the rift."
Zan looks to Terry and says, "Should I came down here because I read the job, thought you might have accidentally walked into a place you get attacked. Looks like you're chill. Should I go deal with that? Or should we keep looking for stuff?"
If you want to make a little coin, go ahead.
I always want to make a little coin, but do you need help?
I mean, I could always use help with it, but if you want to go and have some fun, do a little fighting, go do that.
I'll do a round, then I'll come back. Call if you need me.
All right, so like a round of combat.
I'll just kill somebody.
Look, he's gonna go down there, blow all of his daily cooldowns, and then come back up.
I've got look, listen. I've got what, 5 what level are we? 5 or 6? I don't remember. We're level 5. I've got 5 key points. That's enough to like attack the same person literally 5 times in a round. I'm chilling.
Oh boy.
Like he's just gonna go down there and just be a spectator. You know, if combat happens, it happens.
You know, Zan's not much of a combat maniac. It's fine.
Yeah.
He's pretty pacifistic,
Alright.
honestly.
But yeah, Terry will, exchange contacts with his new Minotaur friend
All right.
Uh-oh.
and say that he
Zan-
must be off. He's got
Zan looks on pityingly at the Minotaur.
Oh boy.
Zan, you can tell that Terry is actually this is a genuine exchange in a friendship.
Okay.
All right, Zan, I'm gonna have you roll me an attack roll in order to punch something from beyond the veil.
Oh, I'm attacking something right now? Okay.
Yes, like you're going to go into the door and earn some money by punching some horrors from beyond reality.
My fists are magical, just so we're all aware here. I have magic.
Yes, that is the only reason that this works.
23 to hit for 7 damage.
All right, you punch the shit out of something incorporeal, and it runs off screaming and crying. You find several other animated suits of armors fighting several other creatures. This seems to just be a daily event.
Oh boy, double XP.
So you can just keep punching creatures if you want. Like this is just basically whack-a-mole for you.
Yeah, I mean he'll do it for a little bit, just to let off some steam, and then he'll go back and help Terry.
All right, and I am going to do a quick thing. Zan, does a natural 1 hit your AC? No, it does not.
With that modifier, the only thing that's getting through is a nat 20.
You do not get slapped at all. Zan is completely impervious to most of the scrounging creatures that are popping up out of the rift.
Huzzah!
Oh,
Then
boy.
we'll just keep smacking away for a while, and then
Yep.
eventually find his way back to Terry.
All right. So, in the meantime, hey, Ert. I hope you're doing well, Ert.
I mean, by this point, Ert has just handed out like crystals to everyone. He is through half his crystal power at this point.
All right. So, you're handing out crystals to everyone, and Ert, you hear a strange voice by your ear, and it says, "This is very unusual."
Ert's like, no, it's not. We run an entire empire off of this shit. You should see what I can do with a big one.
The voice seems to pause for a moment and says, "There have been some incidents of harm perpetrated on our guests."
Well, yeah. Zan's here. He's downstairs. Go check on him.
I have been watching Zan, and he has not caused deliberate harm to anyone yet, though he has done a bit of intimidation.
That's just my face.
And you and Luke,
Just my face.
and your
Sure.
talons.
It's not my fault my hands are talons.
Meanwhile, is like waving one of the spiky hand crystals that he was going to hand to someone between his ear and the sound. It's like going, huh, huh.
All right, you feel a brief moment of contact, and then something seems to withdraw in a hurry and says, "Ooh, that is not good."
What do you mean? Works just fine. Right, everyone?
I think this is going to be a disruption, sir.
1 second. I need to check something in the D&D spell list. Is disruption actually a spell?
Um, I think it's a weapon property. Hold on. There is a Mace of Disruption that you can use to fuck with undead.
Okay, so it's not actually a spell. So Erd understands what he meant. It's like, yeah, well, in this place,
There are ways that this tavern operates, sir. We cannot allow you to go too far outside of what is comfortable for us, sir.
the what and the who now.
Sir, I would like to invite you to speak with management.
Erd just sort of narrows his eyes at the word man. Fucking humans. Excuse me, everyone. I gotta go talk to the humans.
Oh boy. Your new friends insist that you leave the crystals behind for some extra experimentation. Don't worry, you'll get them back as good or better. Trust them.
Erd just looks at his private crystal recharge and is like, mm, mm. This is just gonna continue for like 10 or 6 minutes. So, one of you better roll something.
Wait. Pause. 10 or 6 minutes.
Yes.
10 or 6.
Yes.
Okay. Good. Okay. Just making sure.
But yeah, Erd's eventually just gonna cave and let them have it. It's not like he's giving them Katie, and all his runes are fully charged. But
All right.
he points out the buttons on it. He's like, now don't press this button. This is the soul capture button. Do not press the soul capture button. This here, the soul capture button. Do not press the soul capture button. I'm leaving now.
One immediately presses that button. The crystal immediately jerks out of his hands.
It's like I just want to hear what happens as that crystal eats all the unseen servants working security.
What happens is that it jerks upwards and it appears to be wrapped in a layer of weird film.
And then all of the magic casters there are like, "Aw."
Oh,
But in any case, so Ert, you are escorted upstairs by a strange unseen force, security.
grabs the beer. Beer.
Or do you actually buy a beer?
No, he just grabs one.
Okay, you grab one, it wriggles out of your hand by bapping your wrist and fingers.
Ow! Or just keeps getting dragged.
The bartender says, "You are free to order a tankard if you wish, sir."
I'm going to talk to security. Give me a beer.
The bartender says, "Very well, sir. I will put it on your tab." And he pours a beer and hands it to you. There. That one is now under your control.
I shall name him Beery. So Erd has been hauled away. Do we continue this?
Yes, we're going to continue this without Zan and Terry getting to be involved. You head up onto the top level, and then you are directed towards a door that unlocks before you, and then you enter a strange sanctum. There is a long hallway going down it, and a voice from down the hall saying, "By all means, please come in, Ert." Ert, do you go in, or do you explore some side passageways first?
Erd just goes to the nearest giant crystal.
All right, Ert, you glimpse a giant crystal, you head over towards it, and you find that there is, indeed, a giant crystal hooked up to some sort of machine, and there appears to be a person suspended inside. They are very obviously wearing a wizard outfit.
Ert's just like, whatever. He's now interested in this crystal. He's just going to start rolling Arcana on this crystal until someone stops him.
We'll go ahead and roll then.
It's very crystally.
It's very crystally. Talk to a bunch of machines.
Aha! It's got a guy in it.
This appears to be a stasis and siphoning device. The crystal is capturing magical energies that emanate from these wizards and funneling it down into a bunch of mechanisms. So, this appears to be a non intrusive, non destructive way of powering the operations of this place.
Okay, Ert's gonna use his recharge crystal as a voltimeter.
All right, Ert, when you get it near the wizard, you can feel that there is a distinct magical signature, but it's also a bit lower than you would have thought.
Yeah, this is one of those renewable energy horseshit things.
Oh boy. Meanwhile, the voice from beyond says, Ert?
Hey, I have bad news, guys. This place is run by hippies.
Fucking hell. So, Ert, you open up a door and you find yourself in the presence of a very, very strange creature. It appears to be purple and humanoid. It doesn't have eyes or a nose, but it does have a creepy grin in a white suit and 8 insectoid spikes kind of extending from its back. Here, I'll give you a full picture in just a moment.
Delicious.
And malicious.
Sorry, only 6 spikes.
Okay, you know what Ert has to do now, though, right?
What do you have to do?
Stab it with a crystal.
Ert's gonna roll history to figure out if this is Dave.
Oh.
Because it looks sort of like Dave.
This is not, in fact, Dave. Meanwhile, down at Terry, oh, hey, it's Dave. Yeah, Dave's at one of the gambling tables. This is not a joke. Dave is actually there.
Wait, ping us.
I was gonna say, were you gonna ping us, or was that just a joke?
We'll get back to that, okay? We'll get back to it. All right, so, Ert, you are faced with this very strange creature, and it says to you, Ert, by all means, come in and sit down.
Okay.
All right. So, Ert, do you actually take a seat?
I mean, sure. I got a beer after all. Ert just drinking the beer is like, I'm here.
All right. So, this creature looks to you and says, I am the Admindium. Some call me Addy. It uses a particular odd tone with that last remark. And he says, I am the administrator of this particular establishment. And it has been brought to my attention by security that you have some odd notions about what can be done with it. You have so far not disrupted anything major, but there was a moment where our security was at risk.
Ert just looks back at him and is like, I mean, I'm pretty sure that if you powered this place up proper, you could turn it into a trans-dimensional vehicle.
Ert, I will have you roll an insight.
Is there just a giant steering wheel right behind Addie?
It's like it's already obviously a trans-dimensional vehicle, so I don't know what Ert's suggesting here at all, but it's not very insightful.
Yeah, and so,
15.
Ert, it is not hard to figure out that's exactly what this place actually is. And Addie just kind of blankly looks at you and says,
No. See, this is like a trans-dimensional cart. I'm talking like a trans-dimensional, big cart with like a million wheels and shit.
It's 90% wheels.
Like, give me a few days, I'll fit an entire army into this place. It'll be great.
Addie, just still smiling, says, I am not trying to fit an entire army into my establishment. It is my objective to bring interesting thoughts and sensations to the people who visit, to make a tidy profit and nothing more.
Okay.
Now then, if you have some ideas that could help in this regard, that would be appreciated. But I would ask that you do not use those strange, soul-consuming devices on our security.
Or just stares blankly at him. He's like, no idea what this conversation is about.
Sorry, Addie, you're gonna have to dumb it down. I mean, Ert's a smart man, but you're gonna have to dumb it down.
Ert, your crystals harvest souls in order to power themselves, correct?
Yep.
And you turn that power into magical energy, correct?
Yep. Just like you do. Except better.
He seems to smile a little wider at you and says, in a manner of speaking,
Well, yeah, because we use the whole soul.
we do not destroy what we consume.
Yeah, well, that's why you get poor output.
However, it allows us to sustain ourselves without necessitating violent conflict.
Uh-huh.
You do not seem to be taken with the idea of peacefully gathering energy.
Look, dude, have you ever seen how fast slimes multiply? It's not like it's hard.
Nonetheless, you possess an object that is a direct danger to my head of security.
No, I don't. I gave it to the wizards.
Nonetheless, you brought an object into this tavern which is a direct threat to my head of security.
Yeah, well, I also brought Zan in.
That is regrettably a point. He's not even going to debate that.
Like, Urgis has no idea what this guy is going on about. He's sitting there with his beer and like, my beer's empty.
Addie gestures and the beer refills.
Holy shit. Can you do that again? Can I make a rune of that?
Addie says, you may be able to make a rune of that. I would be willing to pursue a partnership if you are willing to acquiesce to a few requests of mine. There does seem to be something of an allure to things that can restore magical energy, and I am not averse to the idea of using, well, let us say, wayward souls in order to fuel things. However,
Ow. I mostly use goblin and slime souls.
that seems rather focused. You are aware that both of those are sapient creatures, yes?
Well, I mean, if it gives XP, it works. And it never meant no wayward.
There is just like a grinding noise from this thing's head.
Like, anyway, I gotta go talk this over with the bird and the elf.
I would prefer to speak with you on your own behalf, Ert.
Uh-huh.
There is a great deal that I have a personal interest in, and I do not wish this to be something that spreads too far. After all, you have already poked into things that are rather private to my business, and so I would like to keep that information limited. If you would be willing to make a bargain with me, and work alongside me by certain restrictions, I believe we could have a very profitable partnership.
Uh-huh. Like, Erd has no idea where this guy is going with the conversation.
Would you be willing to create installations within this tavern that are capable of restoring the magical energy of the visitors?
Sure.
Would you be willing to work with me on the things that your magic gathering is and is not allowed to do?
I mean, sure, I got this whole journal and shit. He holds up the journal that connects him telepathically to Frestiva.
Oh,
I think it's
God.
got audio too. It's probably picking up this whole conversation.
Oh, jeez.
Admindia just slumps forward in his chair and starts rubbing his eyeless face with his hands and says, Ert, you are an incredible creature, I must say.
Beer's empty.
Addy snaps his fingers and the beer refills.
So, how long is this gonna drag out?
It's going to drag out for a while yet. I'm going to have...
I think we need to hand wave a bit of this.
yeah, we'll hand wave a bit of this. Meanwhile, Terry and Zan, specifically I have a small thing that is not a joke that I would like to do.
Yeah.
Aside from, Dave being over by the gambling tables that secretly got retconned out of existence. So, Zan, you are punching weird eldritch horrors from beyond the veil.
Just like I do.
Yes, and Terry is chatting with this Minotaur. Maybe the Minotaur knows some rumors about, people trying to be spies and bug the place.
The Minotaur does mention that every now and then they get a shifty guy in here that always looks like he's trying to figure some stuff out, like he's trying to piece together some intricate secret, and he's really not there for conversation. But he always goes around to every table, and then he suddenly just leaves.
Interesting.
But anyway, man, you are punching eldritch horrors from beyond the pale, and you see something out of the corner of your eye. You rear up, ready to punch it, and it's Dave.
Oh, hey
Hi,
Dave.
Dave. Mm.
And Dave just waves and says, "Hey, Zan, sorry to surprise you. Didn't mean to.
No worries, Dave. How you doing?
Oh, just, heading in and out. Things all right around here?"
I mean, nothing out of the ordinary. As he punches an Eldritch Abomination in the face.
And the Eldritch Abomination is just like, "Oh, hey, Dave, how you been?" And Dave's just like, "Not right now, man." But Dave gives a nod to Zan and says, "Yeah, just checking in. Just, making sure that everything's all right. Hey, you want a drink on me?"
Sure.
"All right, I'll go ahead, tell the bartender about it. Hey, take care of yourself, man. And hey, those sunglasses look real good on you."
Oh, thanks, Dave. You're the best.
Dave gives you a thumbs up and just walks out of the room. And like,
I like to imagine the entire crowd is like, "Hey, Dave!"
Hey, Dave.
yeah, exactly. But like, I just want to point out that like the only ones who didn't get a script were the constructs in the room that were also fighting the Eldritch horrors. And now the constructs are looking at Zan like, "What the fuck was that?"
Zan's just like, it's Dave.
That's Dave.
Meanwhile, Dave just marches on out and says, "Hey, Terry, how you been, man?"
Terry goes, "Oh, hey, Dave. How are you?"
"Oh, just hanging in there, checking in on things, making a few wheels and deals. You know how it is."
Of course, of course.
"So, what do I find you doing in this wonderful evening?"
I had a very worrying letter about how this place might be in danger of spies, but it seems like it's doing a pretty good job of handling itself.
"Oh yeah, Addie upstairs," and like you can feel a flinch from something somewhere. Addie upstairs is just really on top of that sort of thing.
Who's Addie?
"Oh, he's the owner. You haven't met him? I know the guy personally."
Well then, maybe I'll have to say hello at some point.
"Well, hey, you hit me up, man. Yeah, give me a little something that I need, and I'll make an introduction for you. How's that sound?"
That sounds great, Dave. I'll see you later.
"All right, see you too." And he heads right on over to the gambling table and immediately bets an orphan child's liver against the current betting pool.
Like, I'm just imagining the other people there going, "How do we tell if it's really an orphan child? What if it's just a
Exactly.
guy's?"
Exactly. But anyway, Dave is going gambling. Zan, getting a little bit tired, and I will roll several more d20s. 5d20. One of them did actually manage to scratch you.
Yeah, how much damage do I take?
One moment, I gotta look that up.
I mean, the 17 hit too.
No, it didn't.
Really? Oh, yeah, 18, right?
My AC is 19.
Oh, that was 18.
But my AC is 19, but I also have shield.
Yeah,
I've
so you'd have just
limited
used shield on that one.
So it's 24.
Okay, yeah, so if he can't roll above a 24, there's no point in rolling.
Well, so nat 20s are auto hits, right?
Yes, they are.
So any nat 20 will hit, but yeah.
So Zan took 12 whole damage.
Zan just comes out, and there's just ectoplasm dripping all over his right arm, and he's like, I need somewhere to wash this off.
It's just Terry, like, do you need a band-aid?
No, just a towel.
Terry will give him a towel.
I will actually update your.
Wait, are we implying that Zan didn't bring a towel?
Zan, that's so irresponsible of you.
Like, the most important item anyone can carry is a towel.
Zan, at this fourth wall harassment, Zan fades into oblivion and ceases to exist.
Well, fuck you then.
I hope he reads Hitchhiker's Guide while he's out there.
All right, Zan no longer exists. Terry wasn't sure who he was even talking to.
All right. Have a great day, guys.
He was like talking to Dave this whole time.
Zan fades back into existence, this time holding a towel.
Man, I'm so glad I have this most important item of all time with me.
True. So, Terry,
Yes.
what you gonna get up to?
Mm. Terry, learning that this place kind of handles spies pretty well, that means no bugging the place. So he's just gonna start making friendly relations with people. He already started at the Minotaur.
All right then, Terry, roll me a persuasion.
Let's see. A 17 for the next person. Or group, or whatever.
Okay, 17. Terry is actually rather popular around here. There are quite a few folks who are willing to make acquaintances and tell you a few things about what they know. Everyone seems to regard the mystery of the Wizard's Watering Hole as one of the best topics of discussion for people to just chat about as an icebreaker. Like, it's actually popular because the fact that it's so weird and esoteric is an icebreaker. It's very easy to make conversations around that.
It also helps that Terry is a bard and knows how to play music too, so he's just sort of like weaseling his way in through, popular topics and music, entertainment.
Oh boy.
I just want to imagine that, Terry is asked, they're raising the question of this mystical bar, and Terry is just sitting there thinking, if Ert made something like this, it would be horrific. And he could.
Oh yeah, no, Terry already knows that a place like this would be the most horrifying thing if Ert designed it.
Like, I really hope whoever designed this place is more ethical than Ert. I really hope that.
Oh boy. So, Terry, you are making connections. Zan, is there anything that you in particular would like to get up to after all the punching?
No, Zan will keep an eye out for the bugs that we were looking for earlier. But aside from that, he's just kind of keeping an eye, like helping out Terry, keeping an eye out.
All right. Zan, go ahead and roll me a perception or an investigation or an insight. I will let you choose.
My perception is probably the highest there. Let me double check. Insight would be insight and perception are the same. Since I've rolled so much perception, I'm gonna roll insight instead, and it'll be so much better. Are you ready? 25. Look at me.
Unironically, it was way better.
Look at me.
Okay.
All right. So, Zan, you find an almost suspicious lack of bugs and listening devices and whatnot. Like, you suspect that the security spirit is actually very perceptive about that kind of thing, but that also raises the question of how much does the spirit itself hear? You're guessing it's a lot.
Okay. So does that mean, should I take that explanation to mean that maybe the spirit is the one that's causing the problems?
That explanation is basically like maybe the reason that there is no spy gear is because those spies would be nudging in on whoever's running this place's turf.
Okay, and so does Zan know enough information about why we're here besides like, hey, we're looking for bugs? Does he know like why they'd be bugging people or why they'd be
That is up
listening
to
in?
Terry.
So if Zan doesn't know the rest of the information, then he'd just be like, yeah, we're clear.
Uh, are you sure, Sam? Would it be like, hi guys, the entire place is a bug?
For Zan's purposes, Terry would have informed you that he had gotten a letter from a close friend who was worried about this place being apparently in some amount of danger because there's been spies in the watering hole.
Well, Zan would proceed to tell Terry that the only possible spy, quote unquote, here would be security himself. And he would be listening to us saying that right now.
They're like, yep, that's me.
All right. And security actually whispers into Zan's ear, I am exceptionally discreet, sir. I do not tell the things that I know to anyone.
One
And
second. I'm imagining security like an Alexa. Hey, wiretap, tell me how to make pancakes.
Zan,
God.
Zan will gesture at security as security says this and be like, see,
I mean, I didn't hear anything, but I believe you, Zan.
So, I have a question, Numbers.
I.
Should we roll to see how long until the wizards press the button?
I mean,
Security
security.
is trying very hard to make them not do that.
I was going to say security's probably on that.
I mean, it's a bunch of wizards.
Okay, you know what? I'm gonna roll a D100 to see what happens. Things are relatively calm. The wizards get uppity, but they don't end up directly conflicting and causing problems.
Okay, so they have not, suddenly consumed the entirety of security.
No, they have not.
Continue your discussion, please.
So, Terry and Zan, you have figured some things out. What do you do?
I'm trying to remember what the rest of that letter was for Terry.
There were several spies that were sent in from the College of Whispers in order to investigate the place, and they went missing.
All right. So Terry's thinking is just going, all right, so if several have come here, where did they go?
Is he saying that out loud, or is he thinking to himself?
He's saying it to, he's asking Zan, like, so I was told that several have, made their way here to the watering hole, but,
I like how Terry would just say, like, several of our spies, and Zan's like,
well,
yeah,
not our spies. As far as Zan knows, it's just he's worried that there have been spies here due to the letter he got. Because Terry said,
Well,
no, I said nothing about who the spies were, where they came from, or anything.
I
well,
think we should have an
Zan's
opposed
not.
roll to determine if Terry is actually convincing at all.
Yeah, because Zan, the second Zan hears, I'm worried about the disappearance of these spies, Zan would not think they are hostile spies.
All right,
Oh
Terry,
no,
go ahead
Terry
and
is.
roll me
No,
a
he didn't
persuasion
even
or
let me finish
deception.
my sentence. You all interrupted
Sorry,
me.
I apologize. Go ahead.
Because Terry isn't Terry isn't worried about the spies themselves. He's worried about what the hell the watering hole is doing with them.
Which,
Hmm.
fair.
Zan's still gonna roll an insight check.
Yeah. So go ahead and roll me a persuasion or a deception.
Oh, I rolled low. I rolled low.
Natural one.
Jump.
Natural one. Natural one.
Persuasion or deception?
Yep.
Yes.
Be deception specifically, wouldn't it?
Either one.
Okay. Damn it! Oh, it's so close too.
I know, right?
Oh,
Oh, boy.
Because other people have sent spies here, and we know that other people have sent spies, which is why we're here, checking where the spies they sent went.
oh.
Yes.
This Zan's not fully convinced, but doesn't have enough information to prove otherwise.
Yes.
It's like you're the only one I can talk to.
Yeah, so Terry is just like he's wondering, it's like, well, what would this place want with spies? The Minotaur mentioned one of them walked out, but there's no real walking out where you're in the middle of travel.
So, how do you investigate? What do you do?
Terry looks to Zan and asks if he has any ideas.
Oh, fine. Lay it on me, jerk. Uh,
Terry is a jerk.
Zan with his amazing sunglasses. Uh, so we're trying to figure. Well, I mean, Zan wants to just ask security because he thinks security's a swell guy, but also that might be a little too on the nose. But also, security was listening to all of this, so he already knows what we're trying to do, and so he'll just be like, well, it can't hurt. Hey, security.
Security just says, yes.
Any chance you could help us with the problem we've been discussing?
Yes, actually. I think this would be an issue that you best talk about with my superior. He is upstairs, and I can escort you there if you wish.
Sounds great to me. And Zan will ask Terry if that sounds amenable. He'll use a big word so that Terry feels all nice and warm and on the inside.
Terry thinks on this. Is there a role for this, like an insight or something?
You may go ahead and roll that insight.
16.
All right, Terry, you suddenly have a thought. And that thought is, where's Ert?
Yeah, so Terry is going to think out loud first, is going, well, I guess going straight to the source would be the good idea. Wait a minute. With Suzanne, it's been too quiet.
Zan, who has been punching ghosts and otherworld monstrosities, looks over to Terry and is like, I've not really been in a position to tell, but I'll take your word for it.
Where's Ert?
Hey, security, where's Ert?
Security says, Ert has been escorted to speak with my superior.
Oh,
Like, oh shit, pissed off security and had to be hauled into
oh,
the manager's office.
hey, so he's where we're going.
Yeah, let's get going.
Meanwhile, over at Ert, he has been speaking with Ert about possible ways that magic could be supplied and, various things that could be done to make the place more appealing. And how, no, Addie is not going to sacrifice a bunch of souls and spirits of beings that work here and contribute to the atmosphere in order to power the time crystals. And no, Addie is not going to accept your assurances that it's probably totally safe.
So, does Ert know about the dimensional rift in the basement?
No.
So Addie hasn't mentioned that part at all.
No.
Okay, so Ert is just sitting here trying to sell him on the. That's why you need slimes. Giant piles of slimes. And he just goes into this long riff about the Empire slime farms, where an entire civilization is powered off the souls of killed slimes.
Addie listens to this with a very strange, fixed expression.
Like
and I
Addie came
go,
from hell. I want you to know. He came from the plains of hell, and he's hearing this description. He's like, "Ah."
So that is Addie's trying to keep composure roll. It is not going great.
Okay, well, now that we're off to that start, Ert's going to start shifting into what they do with Empire civilians that don't have any use. You see, if you level up a lot before you die, you give a lot of juice to the collective community. So that's why we always encourage everyone into higher education and then kill them.
And Addie is just, you see sentient beings as resources for your energy production, do you?
No, 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 no. They're perfectly sentient right up until they become resources.
But you still put them through programs that treat them as resources.
I don't. I'm a dwarf. That's human shit.
But you create and encourage the mechanisms that perform such actions.
Well, yeah, you can't get magic any other way.
Mr. Ert, would you mind if I related to you a personal tale?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not really into you, dude.
Very
I got this elf I know.
Very well then. Mr. Ert, it has been an experience speaking with you, but I think that our acquaintance has come to an abrupt end. Ert, please roll me a wisdom saving throw.
and hope you nat 20.
7.
The camera fades out.
Ert is like, another beer, please.
It just, very well, one final thing before you go. And he refills your beer, and in the middle of drinking the beer, suddenly the camera pans away from Ert. All right, one moment, please. I need to do something with the map.
The camera pans away when Ert is 37 swallows into his mug.
Those are tiny swallows.
We're like, shit, this isn't stopping. What's going on here?
God. You know the nice thing about all this?
Hmm.
I have good assets.
Yay.
So hey, Ert, guess where you are?
Oh, good, I brought my beer. Oh no, my beer!
So, Terry and Zan, you guys are heading on up the stairs. One moment. Where are your tokens?
We're
I
right at the
moved
top of
them
the
to the
stairs.
stairs.
Excellent. So you get to the top of the stairs, and the door opens, and security ushers you in right as a tankard scampers past you and starts shuffling down the stairs.
Well, that's not good.
Zan kind of sighs loudly, peeks inside.
All right, Zan and Terry, you see a long hallway that leads directly to an office-looking door at the end, and you hear a voice saying, Terry and Zan, if you would please, I would like to discuss something with you.
I mean,
Harry will walk in.
yeah, we'll go in.
I have a question real quick. I just checked my inventory to see if there's anything I could use here, and one of the items is Dead Wizard. Which wizard was that, and how long have I had him there?
That was probably the one that Zan killed.
Probably, yeah. The cantrip wizard.
Well, good news for Toad then, because I still got him.
Oh God.
Please continue.
So Terry and Zan, you walk down the hallway. You do not see the giant crystals if you go straight into the office.
We have to walk through that hallway.
Yes, but this is important to note. The isometric map here does not show that the main hallway straight towards the door has walls.
Ah, okay.
Yes, so you have
Like,
to actually
Urgus-
poke into these side rooms.
Urgus sensed them.
I mean, honestly, probably yes. Urt knows the weird noises that magical crystals make.
Like, imagine he's there with his mold earth rune. Holy shit, there's crystals here. Let me open this up.
So, Terry and Zan, you head on into this room, and you see once again Addie, the weird purple creature, grinning at you. And Addie gives you both a polite welcome and says, "Zan, Terry, we have much to discuss."
Did we not see Urt floating in the crystal?
Nope, wall.
No, you
No,
did
we
not.
didn't.
Okay.
And Addie gives a polite, a small nod to each of you and says, "First things first, I wish you to know that I have taken possession of your colleague, Urt, for the moment."
Harry
Okay.
just kind of groans and just, I'm so sorry. What has he done?
Well, the first thing that Urt tried to do was pull out a soul crystal that would have killed my head of security, and then tried to perform various experiments on it, and then left it in the hands of several people who did not know how it functioned.
Can we do another roll at exactly this moment for the wizards?
Yes, we can. Oh, God. Meanwhile, downstairs, something explodes, and security has to confiscate all of the magical crystals from them, which causes something of an uproar.
Damn it. That would have been a great time for them to press the button and disable security.
Yeah, Terry, just as soon as that explosion is heard, there is a flinch in Terry. I am so sorry.
Daddy spreads his hands and says, "It is not directly your responsibility. Everyone is responsible for their own actions, after all."
Hi, guys, I'm a crystal.
Fuck you.
It just, unfortunately, we are responsible for the dwarf.
To be fair, we checked with security to make sure it was okay to leave him be, and security said it was totally fine. So I feel like that's more on you.
Yeah, you guys said you were watching him.
Genuinely though, like security genuinely said that.
Yes. And Addie does mention that this was in the report that security gave. And Addie says that this is not something to hold against you, and this is not something that Addie is going to proclaim as some sort of gotcha. This is just the situation as Addie has found it. And so Addie has put Urt into protective custody for the moment. Urt is not harmed and will not come to any harm, and if you ask for it, Addie will also release Urt when you leave the tavern.
Oh, we don't have to bring him. No, we kind of need him with us.
Hmm.
Yeah, we kind of need him with us.
Well, I guess we could just leave him there until we leave, though.
Valid. Probably the
Like,
safest
literally valid.
Yes.
option.
Like, would you? Really? Thanks.
Ern would feel so crushed, but at the same time completely understand.
If he's in that crystal, does he have any sense of time at all? Of
Nope.
time passage? The passing of time?
Nope. Urt has effectively, like, He is not conscious in any way, and when he is released from the crystal, it will go. It will be subjectively like he was drinking a beer and now he's here.
I mean, I see no flaws with this plan.
Yeah.
Thanks, Addie.
Addie gives a polite nod and says, "Thank you, then. Now, there are some things that I do wish to discuss, because Ert did a little bit of poking around at places that were better left in private hands, and discovered some things that I would prefer other people do not know. Now, for this, I am willing to pay you in order to make sure that he does not spread things around too much, if that is acceptable."
I like money.
"Indeed. And I also have a variety of souvenirs that you may wish to pick up as well.
Mm.
What would those be?
For example, the enchanted tankards. They are quite fetching, and I could train one in order to follow you and serve as your own personal vessel.
Do they refill magically?
They regrettably do need magical energy to do so, but yes, they
Mm.
can be refilled using magic energy.
I wonder how much alcohol I could fill up my tankard with the soul of my enemies. That's just like one enemy soul.
Well,
That
I
is
mean,
interesting.
we already have alchemist jugs that summon really bad beer. They summon Bud Light Lime.
Yeah, well, I'd like.
Terry's just like, I don't think we should be using it for souls.
Well, no, we power it with souls.
I don't think we should be using magic.
Well, I will leave that up to you. After all, the things that happen beyond my tavern are not my specific responsibility, and so I will trust in your judgment, whatever it may be. My main concern is what happens here, and with the things that I am concerned with. Do you understand?
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Terry nods. Just speaking of things to be concerned about, I will be upfront and honest with you.
About what?
I'm here just wondering what happened to reports of spies.
Ah, you are here for the rather large collection of people that have come poking about, intending to place magical bugs and spy paraphernalia.
And
Some
just
of them. Up to 4.
and just Terry, just I'm just here investigating the reports.
Well, in this case, I would say that they are also in protective custody. And if you wish to know more, then I will insist that we do a bargain beforehand. Uh, Terry, you may roll an insight check.
Rolling insight. 13.
Zan, you may also roll an insight check, or you may assist Terry.
I'll roll my own insight check. 19.
Ooh, perfect.
Okay, Zan, something is dawning on you. Addy is speaking very plainly and frankly, but there's something that he's not telling you, and you become suspicious of something. So, Zan, if you suspected someone could read your mind, what's the first thought that you would think?
Why is he dressed like Colonel Sanders?
No, not why is he just like Colonel Sanders? It's just Zan going, all right, now imagine him with no clothes, only
No,
underwear.
Zan would start talking to him in his mind. Zan would start be just in his head, be like, "So, Addie, is this what we're doing?" Just in his head.
Addy seems to turn his head a little bit towards Zan and gives a fractional nod. Terry sees this, but does not know exactly the meaning.
Wait, does Terry not realize he doesn't have ears?
So, quick, Addie, on 3, we jump Terry. 3, 2. No. Oh.
No, literally do that.
No, Zan is not gonna divulge this information yet because Zan is not Zan doesn't know why we're looking for the spies, and
Hmm.
Addie knows that Zan doesn't know this, but that Terry does, and so Zan's just gonna keep that information to himself for a bit until he gets a bit more information himself.
Okay. So, Addy says, if you would be willing, You may sit down and read over a preliminary contract with him. He will be perfectly upfront to you about the terms, and he will expect you to hold to them after they are written. Is this understood?
Terry says it all depends on what is in the contract.
Addie seems to smile a little bit wider and says, "Very good." Then Addie pulls out a contract. It seems to be remarkably in depth. It touches on how neither you nor Zan nor Ert may speak anything of the private experiences that you may find within the wizard's watering hole. It alludes to them but does not specify them yet. It also mentions that if Admindium has anything that he wants to specifically state as confidential information, he will use a specific phrase. He mentions that there will be some amount of recompense no matter whether you agree to something further or just this. It seems to be very in-depth and very above board and even-handed. But you also get the sense that Admindium is a step ahead here.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that one clause of, like, I can say anything I want is confidential.
Yes. So, are you willing to trust Admindium on what he claims as confidential?
Terry asks if he can think it over first.
You are welcome to think it over. However, I will firmly tell you that you are not to open any of the other doors on the top floor here.
That's.
Terry nods, just understood.
What about you, Zan?
I mean, Zan's not interested in signing any contract personally. Zan doesn't like signing contracts.
This one does specify that you will get paid.
Yes, I like getting paid.
There is a minimum amount of 100 gold.
Okay, 100 gold's not that much at all, let's be honest here.
No, this is a preliminary contract. It's a minimum of 100 gold.
Hmm. How much do they make for punching ghosts, by the way?
You know what? Go ahead and roll me an athletics or an acrobatics, and we'll use that.
21.
All right. Then you have earned 210 gold just from punching.
Okay,
You know-
sure, like that classic video game character who compares all the side quest mission rewards to just going and murdering shit.
Yeah, it's my job is killing stuff. Mercenary.
You're like, yeah, this is not much.
Yeah, yeah. 100 gold ain't much. I punched ghosts for 5 minutes and made 210 gold.
Addie gives a nod and says, "Yes. However, I'm willing to pay you significantly more if you are willing to agree. Now, this is not something that I expect you to trust me unilaterally on. However, in this particular instance, you do not even know things that are confidential yet. This is a, as it were, free 100 gold. You could take my money and leave and have nothing more to do with me, and I have no recourse."
I mean, at this point, Zan, that actually sounds appealing to Zan because Zan does not know the real reason why we're here. Doesn't really feel particularly like attached to any of the knowledge he has here. It doesn't seem particularly worthwhile to him, other than I could come here to beat up on Luke some one of these days if I want to. Yeah, Zan's down.
And remember, from Zan's standpoint, this is just like a 5-star hotel. It's like,
And
wait, do I get a free spa?
Yeah, it's like can't wait to go to my free room. Oh, hey, you need to change the password.
Addie gives a nod and says, "Very well. We can arrange that with the bartender."
But also, like, let's be honest, making the complimentary rooms password complimentary seems like a bit of an like an oversight. You could
Addie,
No, I swear that was Toad's idea.
Addie, like looks at you for a moment and then just says, "The bartender has a few quirks."
And a mustache.
Yeah. So do my companions, and not me though. Not me.
Of
I'm
course
totally
not you.
normal.
Never
Instead
you.
of quirks, you have sunglasses.
Addie does gesture towards the contract for Zan and say, "If you sign this now, you are free to go with no further obligations. I will give you 100 gold, and then you will be let go."
I will hold off on. I am down to sign, but I will hold off on signing until Terry has decided.
Very well. Admindium looks over to Terry.
Insight?
Go ahead.
15.
Okay, Terry. So you suspect that there are going to be some spicy secrets, and there are going to be spicy secrets that the College of Whispers is going to want to know. However, there is a possibility that what you will learn here will allow you to do something that even the College of Whispers doesn't need to know about and still give them what they asked for.
What you're saying is he could fulfill his mission, but at the same time give himself an advantage.
Yes.
Can we roll for wizards at this point?
Yes, we can.
What do we have to? What number do we have to roll for the wizards to press the button?
A 1.
We have to roll below 10.
Below 10.
So, Ert,
if
I'm
Addie
going to ask you a question.
Yes.
When the words magically conjured food come to mind, what kind of food do you imagine?
I like to think that they just triggered that ruin of summoned mayonnaise that we have never used because no one wants the magical summoned mayonnaise.
So, please imagine downstairs, all the wizards are fighting over getting that weird crystal thing back. They manage to release some of the energy from it, and Earth's weird conjuration and artificing spells fire off, and the entire room and everyone in it is coated with mayonnaise. And then, for several minutes afterwards, every single meal that anyone orders comes out as mayonnaise.
Ew.
Like, they just serve you a plate of mayonnaise. Here's your steak, sir. Oh,
It's not good mayonnaise either. It's actually reclaimed fat from the sewers.
Oh, foul.
God. But
Absolutely
yes,
foul.
but please imagine that, like, yes, I like I like the everlasting steak, and they get a plate of mayonnaise.
Like, oh, great, everlasting mayonnaise. Great.
Hmm.
So anyway, the point is nothing has happened to change the situation.
Not yet. But Ert,
So real quick, as Addie is like reading minds and all that, of course, all he's
Uh-huh.
hearing from Terry's mind is like a school kid trying to gossip
oh boy.
because his own mind is thought in code,
Oh boy. It's probably a legitimate thing that happens too.
along with a bunch of Fey words thrown in, kind of like Spanglish, but with the Fey language.
Oh boy.
I'd call that some sort of check.
You know what? Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes. This is a intelligence or charisma saving throw.
All right. Let's see. Oop. Nat 20.
Oh, okay, so yes, exactly what you
Okay.
said.
God damn. Okay. So Addie is not able to pick up any information from Terry's mind at all. Wow.
And he looks at Zan, and Zan knows nothing.
Yeah, Zed doesn't know any of this crap right now.
And so I imagine his opinion of us is dropping rapidly.
I'm just wondering if Addie is confused.
Well, there's a thing to this, but I do have a question for Ert. Ert, if you were dreaming, what kind of dreams would you have?
Okay, have you ever seen that GIF where a guy points down and two more guys appear and then just loops forever?
So essentially, the equivalent of like Patrick in his dream on the little seahorse ride.
Yeah, it's just something looping eternally, and it's giggling a bit.
So, please imagine that several of the tankards just suddenly split in half and become smaller tankards,
Oh, excellent.
and they begin dancing. Oh boy.
Okay.
And one of them starts trying to carve a rune into a carpet.
For the record, if you let them continue on this, we're getting into a Grey Goose scenario.
All right. But anyway, back to Admindium.
So, yeah, with this idea in mind, Terry will sign it.
All right. Terry, you have signed it. Zan, do you sign it?
Terry's signing it. Zan signs it.
Okay. Then Admindium says to you There are a number of scoundrels that have come into my establishment and tried to put up magical listening devices. What I have done is I have put them in protective custody, where they are currently supplying this place with its magic. This does not harm them, it does not put them to an inconvenience. They are in a sort of stasis, and they are to be released at the end of things when I have made full use of them without any harm. Now,
Doesn't put them at any inconvenience, but they're stuck in a crystal. It feels pretty inconvenient there, but I
you
mean, I
never
don't
said
care.
inconvenience, harm.
You did say inconvenience, but I also don't really care, so keep going.
Mm.
Terry asks, and how long would that be?
That remains to be seen, because regrettably, I am in a rather unfortunate situation with regards to magical energy. Admindium gestures with a claw and says, "This place does in fact consume rather a lot of magical energy, and though I have several, shall we say, ruffians stored away that have been supplying me with power, well, the people of this place who visit it are rather heavy on the services that we supply, and so it is difficult to keep up with the demand. So, we are in need of several other new sources, and I had hoped to convince Ert to become one of those new sources, except that Ert's methodology was not particularly compatible with mine."
Yes, I completely understand. We've been trying to convince him that stealing souls and trapping them in crystals to be used later for spells is not exactly the most ethical of practices.
I mean,
Indeed.
to be fair, this is also not particularly ethical, but again, I couldn't really care less.
Well, at least the difference between Ert and Zan, I'm sorry, not Ert and Zan, Ert and Addie here is, you say they will have no harm done?
Indeed. They are to be released in perfect health.
Will they still be able to use magic?
Yes, they will.
So, ethics are still shaky, but they are better than Ert's.
Indeed. But the thing that I wish to point out is that if you wanted to negotiate for any of these ruffians, I would be willing to talk that through. However, the price that I would need is something that is less on the side of gold and more on the side of energy. He gestures around and says, "This place has been scraping by with the energy that we have managed to accumulate. However, all of the stores that I once had are dwindled to almost nothing. And so it becomes something of an imperative to me that I find something that I can do. And I would prefer not to step on anyone's toes by, say, kidnapping their agents and holding them in stasis when I did not need to."
Terry thinks for a minute and just, if you can find a way for me to be able to contact some people, he kind of holds up his clipboard. He's sure Addie can understand what the clipboard does.
Yes.
And I might be able to find you a solution, but you'll have to give me time.
Well, there are 2 days until you teleport back into the range of where you once were.
Would you be able to grant me permission to send my messages?
Yes. In fact, I could direct you to a secure room which you may use in order to send your messages, and they will not be overheard by anyone or anything, including myself.
Terry nods and goes, and what part of this entire conversation would you consider confidential?
I would prefer that you do not spread the information of where I get my magical energy to anyone who is not part of an organization that you personally are in. And I would also like to request, not require, but request, that any information you pass along to people in your organizations is also with the caveat that they should keep it confidential.
Terry nods.
Kind of goes along with the whole, it's not ethical to keep people in crystals thing, because if it was, you wouldn't have to be confidential about it. But who am I? I'm not the Geneva
Hmm.
Convention, so it's fine.
So, Addie looks over to Zan and says, "By the way, the
Hmm.
reward for this conversation and keeping what I have just said confidential is starting at 1,000 gold.
That is more like it, mein Freund.
I will also throw in a magical tankard that you may use, and if you have any other requests, you may state them and I will consider them.
Terry just kind of squints, looks to Zan, looks back to Addie, and just, does forever steak last outside of the tavern?
Addie considers this and says, "It was not surprising to you to learn that Forever Steak is produced by a magical means. So, unfortunately, there is a limit to how much I can produce. However, if you are willing to supply me with some magic in turn, I am fully willing to set up an arrangement where I can provide you with Forever Steak, provided that you have the energy for it."
Zan fist bumps Terry.
You're just some magic plates that summon steaks, just not like a summon turkey leg type of magic.
Yeah, this is the we
No,
just
this is real food that regenerates.
this is like graduating from, from those little, cherry bombs to full on fireworks. This is graduating from microwave ramen to like actual meals, This is good stuff.
Actual ramen.
Actual Japanese ramen. There you go.
Ugh. So, Addie gives you a nod and says, "I am glad that we seem to be coming to an amicable understanding. Is there anything else that you would bring to my attention?"
Is there anything else I need to apologize for on Ert's behalf?
Thus far, no. There have been some magical amusements, and then I'm going to roll again.
Okay, thank
Things
God.
seem more or less under control. The tankards are still dancing.
Cutting off the alcohol has worked.
It is true. The wizards are no longer drunk. They are covered with mayonnaise. They are still trying to get the crystal, but they're slipping in the mayonnaise, and they are eventually realizing that this is not going to work.
Security has won.
Indeed. For now. So, back to Admindium. So, that is the current situation, and I do wish to... I do not know how this is possible, but somehow Ert is restive and a troublemaker even while under stasis. I did not think that possible.
Terry that's completely possible.
Do you have any advice for me for how I might keep him under control?
If you have a weird magic doohickey, let him take it apart.
Understood. With that, I believe that concludes most of our arrangement. Is there anything more that you wish to mention?
Would that be an insight or an intelligence for something to get on Addie's good side?
Either one.
Let's see. Intelligence. Insight's better. 19.
Okay, Zan, I will also let you roll.
Because for Terry, who's the best contact to be friends with in this bar? The guy who runs it.
Zan, go ahead and roll insight, please.
Insights. I should have already pressed the button and I didn't. I'm sorry. Button. I got a 9. I rolled a
Okay.
2.
You're
I
happy
rolled a
with your.
2.
You're just happy with the
Sunglasses.
forever steak. That's all.
I rolled a 2.
Like,
Okay,
Zan has
so-
just come through this whole thing like, this has been the best day ever.
Dude, I made money punching ghosts. I got to eat real food. I made money signing my name on a piece of paper for no real detriment. I got to learn something cool and I didn't have to tell Terry about it.
Birds trapped in a crystal.
Birds trapped in a crystal. I gotta bully a person that I think is an asshole. That's great.
You had to bully 2 people you thought were an asshole.
Who's the other one? Oh
Joy.
yeah, the Jochi.
Yeah, Jochi.
All right. So, as for Terry, with your 19 insight, you suspect that you could actually call upon something in order to get a little bit of favor with Admindium. Maybe an acquaintance of yours, but the name isn't coming to you just now.
Wait a minute. Dave.
You got it right! Addie says, "Oh, you know Dave?"
Everybody knows Dave. Come on, Addie.
Addie grins a little bit wider and says, "You are right. Dave is one of my favorite people, but you really know him intimately. Oh, well, I'm glad that we have a mutual acquaintance." Addie's actually seems to be perking up and letting down his guard a bit.
Terry just nods and just. In fact, he had just showed up through that portal down below.
Really? Oh,
Yes.
I'm going to have to go say hello to him. Oh, tell me, was he at the gambling table again?
Yes, I think he bet an orphan's kidney?
Oh, goodness. Dave always knows how to push things in just the right way. It's probably not even a real orphan.
I can arrange that.
But that's Dave for you. In any case, if you're friends of Dave, then I will offer you one additional thing.
Oh?
I can adjust some of where my tavern ends up, although I don't have perfect control just yet. But I will say that if you were to send me a letter and arrange things, I could serve as a bit of a way stop for you. You know, keep a room available for whenever you needed a rest in a place that was unfamiliar.
That's mighty kind of you. However, there is one small catch to that.
What would that be?
We're currently in charge of an army of hundreds.
100.
Oh, Addie seems to be taken aback for a moment and just, "Oh, I must be off my game. Well, I should have asked about that at some point. But I will say this. If you are willing to sacrifice some magical energy, I can provide room and board for your entire army. But for smaller issues, that is, you and Zan and even Ert under very close supervision, I will allow you to have a room anytime that you like, provided that you let me know in advance."
Zan puts a finger on his at the mention of Ert under supervision. Zan puts his finger on his beak and says, "Not it."
Eddie sighs and says, "I am going to have to rethink many of my security procedures. For example, I was informed by the bartender that it was completely impossible to bypass the door into my sanctum, and that was true to an extent. However, that does not mean that the other doors should not also be locked."
Locks are pretty rudimentary security features. You know,
Terry just. Honestly, the easiest way to keep Ert out of things is using the most mundane of practices. He thinks everything is magic.
What, putting it on a shelf so he can look at it?
yeah, putting it out of his reach.
Oh, that'd be great.
Putting it out of his reach, using a simple lock, using analog, non magical things. He'll just think it's not worth his time.
Fair enough, then.
Writing in any language that's not runic
Or Dwarven.
or Dwarven. Well, to be fair, no, yeah, probably safer to keep Dwarven out of it.
I'm just imagining Addie keeping Ert away by just writing on the door, "Free tax audits."
Elvish lessons.
Yes.
Terry perks up and goes, "Oh, right, and anything involving elves."
Very well. Then I will take that under advisement. And again, I do not hold you responsible for anything that has happened, and I apologize if my security system was a little bit overconfident. Though, to be fair, he has prevented any major crises thus far.
I want to point out that things could have gone considerably worse than this at many points.
Indeed.
Like, everything is very awkwardly working out. It's like, okay, I guess we won.
Meanwhile,
Security has won.
security has won, cleaned up all the mess, chastised all the wizards, and actually gotten things under better control than they were before.
Does security come bring the little crystal to Addie?
Yes.
Terry tells Addie he can keep that. He doesn't know what soul is in there, but do with it what he wants.
Well, right now there's nothing in there.
Yeah, because it was actually used.
Terry, just feel free. Keep that, use that as you wish. Just don't press that specific little crystalline button. That is what will suck a soul into the crystal.
Understood. And once again, thank you for your cooperation. Addie pauses for a moment and says, As a gesture of goodwill, I'm going to give each of you an extra 300 gold pieces for this. And he gestures to the piece of crystal, and he says, "Ert's not getting it back, and Addie is going to be examining the shit out of it."
That's fine by Terry.
I see no issues with this.
It might be a way to help him with, harnessing power better.
Indeed. Now then, Addie clasps his hands together and says, "I believe that accounts for most of everything. Would you like to go down and have some refreshments and wait for things to come around again?"
Well, I would like to get some more forever steaks and hole up to make some calls for you.
Addie gestures and says, "All of your meals and drinks are on the house for the night. In fact, I will enforce that retroactively." And he pulls out a small bag of coins and sets it on the table. And he says, "And as for the chamber which you may use to make private calls," he gives you a bit of directions to it. And then he says, "And that more or less covers it, I believe. Thank you for being cooperative, and thank you for trusting me. Now then, I will draft up a small and in-print arrangement for you to sign in order to make this all official, but I believe that we have a good thing going here, and I will trust that you will behave yourselves and enjoy yourselves. Speaking of which," and he looks over to Zan and says, "we have several other varieties of meat that are not yet on the menu. However, we are willing to try and fabricate them if you want something a little bit different."
That is amazing. I love you.
Terry and Zan are both just real food.
And with that, we are going to cut things off more or less here. But we will have 3 small scenes before we go. So, Terry and Zan, I'm going to go ahead and put you into a room. Boop.
Oh, Terry, imagine finding you here in this room with me. No, not actually. This is not actually happening. I'm sorry for even bringing it up.
Where's Toad?
we need Toad for safety.
What's our new code word?
Toad comes back to you, demonstrating that Toad can now play instruments.
Great. Oh, wait, did he eat? Please tell me he ate Luke.
No, he did not eat Luke.
Dang it.
Terry asks Toad, "Did the bartender actually manage to find you brain?"
Toad says, "No, it was Dave."
"Oh, Dave got you brain."
"Yes,
I'm gonna have to thank Dave later.
Dave is cool."
He won it in a roulette game.
Oh boy. So, Toad can now play an instrument. Very proud of Mushroom Sun. Zan, there appears to be actually no serious crisis for you despite every way that things could have possibly gone wrong.
I'm fine with this.
Zan, how do you spend your evening?
Best day ever rates 5 stars out of 5.
Yeah, I give it a 5-star rating on the D&D equivalent of Yelp.
Gnome
It's Nelp.
advisor.
That's no Yelp.
No, Nope.
Nelp.
Nelp. Okay,
Nelp.
I do it on Nelp, and then I'll just do some glass blowing. I guess there's the glass blowing place you mentioned earlier.
Yep.
But it's covered with mayonnaise.
No, security cleaned it up because
No, yeah. If it
Oh
was
yeah, that
covered in
100
mayonnaise-
did a lot, I guess.
Mhm. So, with that, Zan has a very enjoyable evening. He gets paid a lot of money to do not a whole lot. He has some fights in order to cathartically vent his rage on things.
Dude, I should
And
live
there is
here.
no serious crisis, and he has a place where he could possibly get hired for other jobs.
Yeah, like the CRT needs to come here. We'll just work for Addie. Screw the regiment, man. We're just gonna work here. We're gonna live here. It's great.
Oh boy. So,
Like,
Terry, you have an opportunity to contact someone in the private room. And I will say, Admindium was being perfectly sincere about this. It is private, even from Admindium.
So Terry will call his mentor.
All right. You call up your mentor. Your mentor picks up the metaphorical phone and says, "Ah, Terry, you actually contacted us."
I'm just Terry. "Yes, I did exactly as you had asked me to."
"Exactly, you say. So I take it that you followed every single order and did everything that every other agent sent there did?"
Well, I investigated first to figure out if some of it was possible.
Ah, the wisdom of caution.
The answer is most of it, no. Their security is airtight.
Really? Well, that does pose a problem, but ultimately it's better to know than and not lose any additional agents.
Making friends, however, totally fine.
Indeed. You have brokered some sort of arrangement for us?
Well, at least for me. And some terms in getting some of our alumni back.
I see. That is quite a lot more than we would have expected of you. In fact, the mission would have been a success even if you had just planted the bugs. But that's our Terry, always going a bit above and beyond. Now that you're
Course.
thinking about the bigger picture, anyway.
So, the one in charge of this tavern is looking for new sources of magic. If we can find him those sources, we can get our alumni back.
Really? Interesting. I believe we could work out something, but can you describe the terms of the arrangement? And I take it that Terry would actually spell out, magical stasis, not harmed. They can still cast magic at the end of it, etc.
Yeah, he mentions the basic details of just like as vague as possible in order to stay in the confines of the contract, which is that none of them will be harmed at all by what's going on. They're currently helping with the magic situation,
Very good.
whether they want to or not.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Well, your mentor accepts this and says that he will have to ask a few questions. And could you please contact him again tomorrow after he's talked to a few of his people?
Harry agrees to this, and he mentions also that the idea of using souls for magic seems to be frowned upon by the administration here. So that is not a viable alternative.
Oh, thank you for the information. That is going to play into our thinking, especially with some of the unusual currents of thought going around right now.
Yes, unfortunately, anything else I tell you would be breaking a contract.
That is just fine. But, Terry, I do wish you to know that there is some wisdom and caution even when dealing with, well, your alumni. You've doubtless already had some experiences, but just in case you haven't, there are quite a few within this organization that feel that reaching for immediate power might be more wise than taking things slowly and carefully. I do not personally agree, but I am not the one in control of everything, am I?
We just Terry going, "Oh, I've already had a bit of a hazing from past alumni."
Well then I will trust that you have it all in hand, and Terry, I do wish to say this personally. Thank you for not just diving in. You've done a lot of growing over the years, and it's really something to see.
That means a lot coming from you.
Indeed. But I'm still going to put salt in your tea, and you're not going to catch me.
The day I do is the day I know you'll have to retire, old man.
Oh, just so. So I'd better be very sneaky about it, hadn't I?
Just a little.
By the by, did you actually notice what I printed the letter on?
An ad for gnome cable?
Oh, yes. By the way, I gave them your mailing address.
So that's how I got the tiny dragon.
I was really quite taken with that little one. But in any case, feel free to deal with the spam in whatever way you see fit. It should be quite amusing.
You know me so well. I will talk to you tomorrow.
Farewell, Terry. And the line goes dead. Now then, last thing. Hey, Ert!
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
I am going to allow you 3 points of chaos. And yes, these are going to affect things. I just want to know 3 Ert-isms that you think would affect the tavern.
I mean, obviously, Ert is sitting here inside of a giant crystal, and he's gonna start telling everything to, more crystals for the crystal god.
More crystals for the crystal god. Oh my goodness.
Look, all I want to say is that when this guy comes to release Earth, the crystal is twice as big as when he started, and it's worrying. It's like, why is it getting bigger? How is it getting bigger?
All right. That's one Ertism.
No, that's it.
Now, here's another Ertism. Would you start subconsciously making everything run off rune magic?
I mean, let's just put it this way. Anything connected to this crystal is not going to be the same afterwards.
Oh, God. Suddenly the bartender has to start filling up the drinks by putting them on a drink rune on the counter.
You know, we're not going to read too far into this. We're just going to say that Urt has been in this crystal for a while, and this place has been a bit tainted.
All right. One last Ertism, though. Is there anything that personally sounds funny to you?
Ooh.
Nah, I think we're good as. I think everything just went very well for everyone.
For once.
It's like nothing bad happened. I think the big side effect is that a bunch of wizards just learned that they could refill magic.
That is very true, and it's going to be a problem in the future.
Like the information that Urt just handed out is really, really bad.
Yeah.
Like, hey guys, you could just kill people and get your spell slots from that as long as you have one of these crystals. You don't say.
So, you wake up at the end of all this, right at the entryway of the wizard's watering hole, with no idea how the hell you got there.
And Terry and Zan both standing there like, what a wonderful trip.
Urt is just like, holy shit, I am hungover. What the hell did I do? How long were we there? The last thing I remember was getting 42 drinks into a tankard. It just wouldn't end.
I would like to ask if we're gonna jump cut to all of us getting back next session. What is it that the college decides as an alternative magic source for trading?
Well, it turns out that a lot of the bards in the College of Whispers have reason to disappear from the public consciousness for a while. And so there is actually an arrangement that they try and that they make where if one of the College of Whispers bards needs to go away, then they just go into magical stasis and feed the wizard's watering hole for a while. And not only that, but there are some people who might be in for longer stays, so to speak.
Oh, good. We're helping the mafia disappear people.
More specifically, people who, try sabotaging the College of Whispers from within the College of Whispers.
Or
It's
also
pretty much
people that just want to disappear. The mafia disappears many people.
essentially it's the mafia icing their own men.
Well, isn't that pleasant?
Well,
Terry's never gonna use it, so he doesn't really care.
Fair.
Like, if anyone mentions this to Urt, he's like, I guess.
Still not an effective use of magic, but whatever.
So when does Urt realize we just lost roughly 5% of our crystal capacity?
after you have left and after the door has vanished.
Well, Ertz could be a lot more surprised to see what happens back at the camp, or what happened back at the camp. So,
I guess maybe he'll regrow a new personal crystal.
It's true. Just, carve it out of Lung Thunk's back.
Exactly.
All right. And with that, we are going to conclude the session with Urt, Zan, Terry, and Toad heading back in order to find out the state of their own army. And then we will get we will have some minor downtime things at the beginning of next session, saying, what you've done when you reunited. And we will also have a brand new adventure of the party and the army both.
Oh boy.
Well, that was fun.
Yeah. Take care, everyone, and I hope that you have a lovely evening.
And
Goodbye.
then Urt
Bye.
vomits on Terry's shoes.
with that note, we're done.